Hi, this is Cam, the Dota coach, here for a patch analysis of 6.82, the Rekindling Soul update. Now, you'll have to excuse me. I'm kind of coming down with a cold here, so if I leave for a second or two, or if my voice sounds crappier than it usually does, you'll have to excuse that. But anyways, I just wanted to go over this update. This is one of the biggest updates I've ever seen, if not the biggest update I've ever seen since I started playing Dota here. So I just wanted to go through that with everybody, kind of break down what I think of everything, because there's a lot of changes, even some character changes, which is pretty big. You don't see that too often, so you do have that with this update. As you can see, big old picture of Shadow Fiend, his new reworked model, which is pretty good looking. I think it's spiffy. Nothing changes about him. This is actually kind of cool. This the Arcana update item set. It's a good looking set there. I'm not sure if I would personally buy it. I don't play Shadow Fiend a lot, so but it looks cool anyways, and it includes a lot of things like the altered voice and whatnot. Just gonna go ahead, kind of skip through the item stuff. Courier morph, that's a kind of cool idea. Like I really don't care. I've got my courier set at random, so whatever I get, I get. But as you use your own courier, it switches. Or use the courier, it switches to your own courier. So it's cool for people who's got like a jade, what the heck's it called, from New Bloom, or Spring Bloom or New Bloom there, I can't remember. Jade Horse, we'll go with that. But a support buys it and then doesn't give it to you, and then this way it's just everybody's happy with their courier, though it can kind of mess. I don't really like having too many different courier designs, because it starts getting messing with your head, like, is that an enemy or not? Just too much stuff going on. Fantasy Season 2, just gonna skip that. Fight recap. That's a pretty cool option. I'd like to try out when it comes out. Great for seeing, what happened in the battle better than going through the logs. The logs are really, they kind of suck. So this way you can kind of see what you did wrong, what you did right, who did what, and see if you could improve upon that. Now the map changes. I don't think they don't give pictures of it. Um, Actually, Dota Cinema's got a good a video that you can go to their YouTube channel there and kind of see what the new updates are for the map. They're big. Basically, what they've taken is Roshan is now where the ancient camp on the dire side is, and he's facing the not quite the opposite way, but he did like a 90-degree clockwise turn. So he's facing out towards the inside of the river, not the outside of the river. So you got that. Then they, of course, moved the ancients kind of around where his pit was, and they added the ramps. So you can actually access Roshan's pit from the um, dire hard lane, or bot lane. You can access it there. So you should be able to blink in. Now they have a ward spot there. I'm not sure if that ward spot right beside Roshan's pit actually can see into Roshan's pit. That's I'm not sure. So we'll see how that works. But definitely quite a bit of changes. I'll go over the map thing more when I have the list. But the new bounty rune. Now, basically what that does is it gives you XP and gold extra. I'll go over that in a second here. This is just kind of an overview. Crimson Guard, they had that on the Year Beast thing. Yeah, it is New Bloom. Already forgot. It's a okay item. I'll go over that when I go over the item sections. They've reworked BloodSeeker, which rest in peace, BloodSeeker, because I don't think he's going to be quite the pub stomper that he used to be. I got like a 70% win rate right now in the patch with him. I played like 70 games or something stupid. He's one of my favorite characters, and it kind of sucks to see him reworked because I've come to rely on how he plays a lot. So we'll see how the new patch is, but I don't think it's quite as good of a pub stomp, but might be more of a team player. The Phantom Lancer one is a weird one. I'm not really sure on that one. You'll have to see how it is in game. Let's go over the general stuff here. Now, basically, the fountain changes are straight for, fountain diving. People get pissed off at fountain diving. There's really no advantage to doing it just to piss people off. So now it's at a higher elevation, so there's a 25% miss chance, of course, attacking uphill for like sniper and stuff like that. The vision range is 1800, so you could hook people from the fountain and get them inside there. And of course, its attack range is increased, so it'll be more. It'll still be around the same idea of like where the boundary ends, but it's just a little bit farther because they have to go down the ramp there. And then true sight's increased to 1200. So it's basically just an anti-diving tool. It doesn't really change the game any, so it's fine. I kind of like that idea. I mean, there's not really much point to fountain diving besides being a jackass. So reworked terrain surrounding the Roshan area. We just mentioned that. Reworked terrain around the dire bottom lane. Basically, they've also changed the trees along the side there by where the new Roshan pit is. That's what that means. Reworked terrain below the top Radiant Tier 1 tower. Now, I haven't seen pictures of this one, but no, I haven't seen pictures of this one. I've only seen pictures of bot the Tier 1, where they kind of make it so that big bush there that's right straight across from the side lane shop on the jungle side of the lane. That's kind of got two funnel areas where you can just juke through. Move Dire Bomb Tier 2 tower back very slightly. So if it's, I don't know how much is very slightly, because I mean that thing's really really close to I don't know, just a river. I don't know if it's, what's the point of that one, but we'll see. Added an alternate path to the north of the bottom lane side shop. Basically where the river starts, you can come in through the Dire side and you can sneak in through the side lane shop, which is okay, I guess, Add in a new ward spot near the bottom Dire 2 tower. I think that's the Roshan ward spot. Add a new ward spot near the, or actually no, this one might be if you go from the tower, if you go and you hang a left where the Seeker's shop is, that kind of those bushes there, but more in the top right corner where that cliff is that you can't get over, that's I think that's where that one is. Add a new war spot near top Radiant Tier 2 tower. I don't know where that one is. I haven't seen pictures of it, so who knows. Added a new ward spot between Roshan and the Dire bottom lane. That's the Roshan pit one. Bottom lane Dire creeps now arrive slightly closer to the Dire Tier 1 tower, so that makes it easier for the offlaner on the Dire side there. Top lane Radiant creeps now arrive slightly farther from the Radiant Tier 1 tower, so that makes it easier for the Dire again on the top lane there. So just a little bit of thoughts. There's more warding spots. Definitely Dire need to be changed, because if you look at stats, Dire typically has a lower win rate overall, just in general, like millions of games. It just has a lower win rate than Radiant side. So there had to have been some sort of change in order to give Dire that advantage. Most people believe it's because of the way the camera angle is, and also your jungle setup is I don't think is as optimal as the Radiant side. So it's things like that where they kind of need to change that. They haven't changed the jungle thing. I haven't seen really a map change since they decided to change the pull camps from medium strength creeps to the easy ones. So that's these are big changes here. So just makes it easier for the dire side right now. Also, with if that Roshan Ward spot does work now, that will mean that you basically will have a hard time getting into Roshan, sneaking into Roshan, because you can just, unless somebody goes in and dewards that spot, you're kind of hooped. And this will, I'll go into a bit more what I think about the new Lycan setup. Yeah, if you liked Lycan before, you might not like him so much, but we'll go over that when we get down to the Lycan stuff. So the map, I kind of have to play around with it and see before I solidify what I think of it. But I think the changes are for the better for the dire side. So makes it for a more even game. So added a bounty rune. This one I'm not quite sure how exactly it works, because it says 50 experience plus 5 per minute and 50 gold plus 2 per minute. I'm pretty sure that means minute. I'm not sure if it's min, but does that mean you just get 5 extra experience after a minute? Or you get 2 extra gold? We'll just say at this point in time you get maybe it's a plus 5 minimum. I don't know what it is or the explanation behind that. Either way, it can be bottled. It's basically so people don't feel so bad about having to go to the wrong rune and getting nothing, because you waste experience if you're in the middle lane. You could come home empty with nothing, and then nothing in your bottle. Now they have you're probably thinking, well, if there's always a rune on each side, what's stopping people from just spamming bottle? Well, they've raised the price, so I'll go over that later. But this is kind of a cool thing. It doesn't have to be used for just the mid lane. If you've got a jungler who can sneak that extra bit there, that helps jungling quite a bit. So if you got anybody like Enigma who can just kind of still keep killing the creeps with his Eidolons and him go pick up the rune, it could be a really big boost for junglers. So I'd like to see how it kind of all works, especially with that 5 min and 2 min. So basically that's what that's all there for. And runes are replaced every 2 minutes if they're not picked up, so that's changed. So you can't just leave a DD rune or haste rune there to pick up after the 2-minute mark has reset. It'll change now. Denied creeps give less experience, so it used to be 36 per unit, now it's 50%. So initial creep wave from 144 to 113 if the creeps are denied. So this has made it so denying is more important, obviously. I don't know how much this actually changes, or if it's just the same more or less. I was under the assumption that it gave the other team less experience, but this might be just sort of a I don't know. It actually I mean it's important, but I'm not sure where it fits on the importance level. So yeah, I don't know that one. It's kind of we'll just see how it works. Rework the bonus area of effect XP. This change only affects the extra XP given if within an area after a kill. It does not affect the natural XP you get for killing a hero of a certain level. So basically, if you're support, you're around the guy there, and then you basically it's changed from your level of victim. It's kind of a complex system. So now we got XP factor. So XP factor equals XP difference times victim HP experience. So from what I understand of this is if you are lower, you will get more experience as opposed to the other heroes that are around you. That's why I'm assuming, so that you kind of brings up your levels and everybody levels out. Either way, it's kind of a like look at the XP difference, which is enemy XP minus allied XP divided by enemy XP plus allied team XP minimum 0. So I think it's more or less just a balancing out for supports and people who aren't getting the kills. So I think that's a going to be a good thing in some cases and a bad thing in some cases. So it depends. If you're ahead in experience, I believe this is going to lower your chances of getting that experience boost ahead of the other team. But if you're behind, this can give you the chance to make a comeback. So it could be good, could be bad. Reworked bonus area of effect gold and streak ending. This change only affects the extra gold given if within an area after a kill. Basically, this is the gold version of the experience there. So that the player that got the last hit now gets the area of effect bonus. So yeah, it's a kind of a different. So it's not quite like you're just in the area and you get experience. But apparently the player that got the last hit now gets the area of effect bounty, which of course depends on how good you're doing, I guess. So if you're lower, your net worth is lower, which could be, then you'll get more gold. If it's higher, then you'll get less gold. So there's less of a snowballing effect now with people or heroes that get a lot of kills. So your Slarks, your Klinkses, your BloodSeekers, your those kind of heroes, they probably won't snowball as hard now because they will get less gold if they're snowballing good. So the gold for ending, yeah, see, like ending a spree is in turn reduced from 125 to 1000 to 100 to 800. So you already get less gold. So any of those kind of characters that are heroes that get snowballing effects from more gold, they've taken a nerf. So though getting up to that kind of killing spree is, oh well, I hope you get that kill. This is a big nerf to pushing this part right here. It's huge. A glyph to fortification cooldown is now refreshed whenever you lose a tier 1 tower. So it means you never have to be scared about using your glyph. Use it every time that your tier 1 tower is about to go down. And that way you can just reuse it if you need. The cooldown goes down instantly. It's great for the anti-push kind of thing. So now tier 2 towers armor increased from 20 to 25, which means it's going to make it really hard to push those tier 2s because now they're the same as tier 3 towers, so but just without the uphill advantage. And tower bounty gold for destroying tier 1, 2, 3, 4 reduced from 264, 312, 5 or 358, 405 to 160, 200, 240, and 280. So over 100 to over 100 gold less for killing a tower, and if it's denied, you get half that on top of it. So that just brings down the gold. Like if you just 100 gold missing from each hero, that's 500 gold just gone on tier 1. So that's a huge difference. Like in terms of pushers, typically how you'd win in patch 6.81b, if you're a push lineup, get as many towers as you can. Once you got the towers, you're at an advantage and you just snowball and go. Like getting towers was one of the biggest things. Like you get all the kill. I've lost games where our team would be like 30 kills and the other team would be 15, but they got lots of towers and we just get skunked. We get smoked really bad because we just don't have the gold, right? We got kills, but we don't got the gold. So this will nerf pushing. Pushing is not quite done, of course. You still got to push to win the game, but those cheap push lineups, the Lycans, the Nature's Prophets, those kind of things, those ones that are Tinker, getting those extra towers is not going to do as much good as they used to. So there's not going to be that snowballing effect anymore. In Captain's Mode, the third ban phase is order is swapped. Yeah, it's if you play Captain's Mode, that's kind of a difference, but I mean it's not. I think it's good for in Captain's Mode, but I mean it's not really for regular Dota. It's not a big deal. Reworked how all pick works in ranked matchmaking. This has kind of been needed for a long time because with ranked or with all picks ranked, you basically counterpicked. You wait until the end, you counterpicked. That's how it is, and I mean that's how you win, right? You picked whoever, you're gonna get stomped. You know, you picked Anti-Mage, somebody will pick Bloodseeker. So with this is kind of preventing it and still removing the gold when if you're not picking quick enough. So picking starts after 35-second strategy period, which nobody's going to use in solo ranked. Nobody. No one's gonna go, hey, well, you're gonna pick Void, well, I'll pick Lich, no, or Witch Doctor. None of that's gonna happen. That's good more for team ranked matchmaking, or just teams in general. Teams alternate picking. Whenever it is team's turn to pick, anyone on that team can pick for themselves. So basically, this is going to be people just trying to pick as quick as they can. And you know, honestly, I like to pick last. So teams have up to 30 seconds to pick a hero. So if somebody can't make up their mind, they're going to start losing gold. If the timer expires, each player that hasn't selected a hero will lose 2 gold per second. Selection will stay on this team until a hero is picked. With this, giving 30 seconds per hero with a 35-second strategy period, that makes it up to 335 seconds, which you can spend on picking heroes, or just the pick period, which is 3 times longer than the original. So I'm kind of, you know, if you want to get a quick game, it's gonna suck. So if the timer expires, each player that hasn't selected a hero will lose 2 gold per second. So if some guy is just no one can decide to pick, you know, that's everybody who hasn't picked yet is going to lose 2 per second. So if you're the last one, well, that's your own fault. But if you're the last 3 guys and you haven't decided, you know, the selection will stay on this team until a hero is picked. So once the selection is made, it immediately switches to the other team to pick. Normal and self-explanatory. Additional notes: initial starting team is random, but known at the start of the strategy period. So they'll let you know if Dire or Radiant gets to pick first, so they can pick whoever is the current pub stomper. If a team is not picked and continue losing gold for more than 30 seconds, a player that hasn't picked will be assigned a random hero and the turn will resume to the other team. So after 30 seconds, you'll lose 30, you know, like 60 gold, and you'll get a random hero. So awesome. So adding that extra 30, that means you could have up to 60 seconds a minute per hero times 10 times 35, so 635 seconds. This is gonna be longer than Captain's mode. You might as well just go into Captain's mode, because I'm thinking how this works in all pick is kind of like Captain's mode without the bans. Like it really is Captain's mode without the bans, and more of you know, you can choose your own hero. That's really the only differences now. So whatever. Aegis duration decreased from 6 to 5 minutes. That's you know, that's a nerf to the Aegis, of course, so you can't hold on to it as long. Roshan's slam area effect increased from 250 to 350, and Roshan's slam damage increased by 20 every 4 minutes. This makes it they're just kind of more or less making it so they don't want you to Rosh, like, at all, more or less, because I mean, they nerfed the Aegis, they've increased the Roshan slam damage, so he's going to do lots more if you got more than 3 people in there, or 3 or more people. Also, there's the ward spot, so it's kind of like they're saying do less Roshing, do more other stuff. Here's a bunch of, oh boy, just neutral changes. So the Centaur's Conqueror's Swiftness aura has been moved to Hellbear Smasher. What that means is now they hit, 15 extra attack speed on a Smasher, which they already hit really hard. So this is going to make it so if you get a Hellbear, you know, now looking for the word, camp, can't think. So if you get a Hellbear camp, it's going to be less worthwhile to do it, because it's going to hit harder. And the attack time is increased from 1.35 to 155, which I'm assuming might offset that. So I should have read over this part first before saying things. But attack time increased from 1.35 to 1.5. So you that maybe offsets the swiftness aura. Center Conqueror attack time improved, so he hits harder now, but he doesn't have well, he attacks faster, but doesn't have swiftness aura. So yeah, I think it all just equals out for these two guys. And the Courser attack time improved from 1.35 to 1.3. Dark Troll Summoner Ensnare duration increased from 1.5 to 1.75. So if you're a Chen and you're using that, or Chantress, that's a buff. Satyr Banisher HP increased from 240 to 300. So and Satyr Banisher movement speed increased from 300 to 330. Banisher attack range reduced from 600 to 300. So basically this makes the camp less fun for you if you're melee, but easier if you're ranged. The attack time improved from 1.8 to 1.7, and the purge cast range from 200 to 350. So good if you're Chan, not so good if you're a melee jungler. Wild Wings Ripper's toughness aura now works on siege units. So again, buff for Chan, Enchantress, anybody with a helm, a Dominator, you know. Fix some rare edge cases with pathing malfunctioning. Some bug. I don't know. I don't think I've run into that. Or maybe I have. Sometimes I click in a spot and my hero will literally go one way and then go back the other way and then go one way and then go back the other way. It's stupid. The following abilities can now be cast on spell immune allies. So Ice Armor, Surge, Alacrity, Nature's Guise, Chakra Magic, Recall, and Mistcoil. So Ice Armor, Lich, Surge, Darkseer, Alacrity, Invoker, Nature's Guise, Treant, Protector, Chakra Magic. Oh fuck, who does Chakra Magic? Shit, I can't remember. Like, damn, who the hell does Chakra Magic? Oh. Geez, I should know this one. Recall, which is Chen, Mistcoil, Abaddon. I'm gonna look up that Chakra Magic here in a little bit, unless I just remember off the top of my head who to. Because Chakra, the actual spell Chakra, is a freaking Timbersaw's attack. So his ultimate Chakra Magic. The following buffs are now properly dispellable: Chilling Touch, Thunderstrike, Inner Vitality, Alacrity, Chaos Mirror. So, you can go through, read those. There's a ton of buffs that are now dispellable with Purge, or I don't know if Repel from Omni Knight does it. We'll have to see. Dark Pack, Kraken Shield, Aphotic Shield, and Pressy Attack, Time Lag no longer have special conditions for purging the following: otherwise unpurgeable spells: Poison Nova, Heaven's Halberd, and Snare. I have Scotty Slow. So like Kraken Shell and Tidehunter, like it has a purge effect. Now it works on these. That's for debuffs. Excuse me. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. That's the cold kicking in. Now we're at the heroes, the fun part. So, Abaddon, Mistcoil mana cost rescale from 75 to 50, 60, 70, 80. Now this is going to make him way better to use the Mistcoil early game, because most people, they skill the Aphotic Shield, and then his slow and attack speed increase with his W there. Can't remember the name off the top of my head. So that will make it kind of more reasonable to use it early game, as opposed to most people just scale it after everything else is all done. So that's a buff if you choose to use it. I think for early Abaddon players, I don't know if it's actually going to make a difference or not. Alchemist, acid spray, negative armor increased from 3, 4, 5, 6 to 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, Alchemist has taken a dive in terms of just like win rate and stuff like that. He's, garbage tier, like around where IO, Nepo, Earth Spirit, that kind of level for win rate. So he used to be, a core hero there where everybody would pick him. He was in all the games and he just fell off. So with this, I don't think it's going to bring him back into core, but it's maybe gonna alleviate some of that, major debuffs that he's seen over the last few patches. So I'd be, I think this is Ice Frog saying, hey, he's still there. You could possibly win with him. You're going to have to try harder. And I think he's going to see more buffs in future patches. Anti-Mage base strength increased from 20 to 22. Another core hero used to see it in a lot of games all the time that just fallen off. And again, he's sitting around the same win rate as Alchemist is right now. And a lot of it is because BloodSeeker can now just BloodSeeker has always been able to just counter him, like just straight up counter him. Because if you blink away, you're screwed. Or if you sit there and take it, you're screwed. If he's got a basher, you can do a lot of damage to Anti-Mage really quickly, especially if the team that's ganking him has a support that has any sort of stun, because you typically don't have a basher early game on BloodSeeker, and then you could always TP away, assuming that you're not really, really, really low and he really surprises you, because that does happen a lot. So Axe counter Helix chance to activate increased from 17 to 20%. That's a pretty big buff there, especially jungling. That makes him like much better jungling. Just in lane, he's been seeing a lot of buffs lately, so I'm gonna say he's gonna start seeing a lot more play, just in general. I mean, yeah, that's a pretty decent buff, not game changing, but for a jungler, that's a significant buff. Culling Blade no longer ignores Lincoln Sphere. That means, hey, you go to ult somebody with Lincoln Sphere, it gets denied. Nothing happens. So that means, just if you don't like Axe, get a Lincoln Sphere if you feel like he's gonna ult you a lot. But it's kind of weird that they have that now, because it goes through basically everything else. It goes through Dazzle's Shallow Grave. It goes through Abaddon's ult. So why the hell wouldn't it go through Lincoln Sphere? I don't know. But that's a game change that they have. But I don't think it's broken in terms of just taking Axe off the map there. I think this is a buff in general. This is a crazy one. Bane's Aghanim Scepter's feeding script now also causes anyone to attack Bane while he is channeling to be afflicted with Nightmare. Now, I'm going to assume this works just like regular Nightmare. I'm hoping, because then you'd be able to at least stun him. But if you go to regular attack him, what's it saying is you will go up to him if he has an Aghanim Scepter, and you will get Nightmare, and nothing will happen to Bane. He'll just keep on going. But if the case is you like try and do a stun or any magic attacks on him, like normally wouldn't proc the Nightmare, like Moran's arrow, yeah, I don't know if you'll get Nightmare. Probably not. I'm just assuming from how it's always worked to now, so we'll see. But that's a big buff if you like to farm Egg Scepter. He's a support that can't get a lot of farm. Really, only ways he can get farm from is ganking and ganking. Really, his spells just aren't made for farming, and he's got poor attack strength. So I don't know. You don't see that many Banes with eggs, but I think this will help him a little bit. But I don't think he's gonna be like Banes everywhere. Another Bat Rider nerf. No, I don't see him in games ever at all, but they've increased the cooldown for his Flaming Lasso end game there to an extra 10 seconds. So I don't know, maybe that's going to be the end of Bat Rider in any sort of competition scene, because right now, like even him farming neutrals got nerfed, but so his Flame Break or whatever it was got nerfed to half, and a whole bunch of other junk. So I don't know. But the nerfs keep coming. I guess people keep playing them. It's basically saying there's other heroes besides Batrider. Beastmaster. Now, I'll explain more about the damage type changes when we get down to the damage type section, but basically there's only a few damage types now, which is physical, magical, and piercing, spell piercing now is what we'll go over that here, but it's changed for, there's no more composite. There's no more composite damage, so now it's physical. And the damage has been nerfed, an extra 20 across the board here, so you don't see that much Beastmaster, so I'm not sure why that nerf has come in. But Primal Roar side knockback radius increased from 250 to 300, and side damage same as primary damage now. So that's been buffed up. An extra 100 to 50. Push distance increased from 240 to 300 for just to push this. Primal Roar side push duration increased from 0.4 to 0.6. So overall, it's been a buff to his ultimate, which his is a pain in the ass to deal with. But his wild axis has been nerfed, so it's kind of I think if you're ganking Beastmaster, great. If you're farming Beastmaster, not so great. So it depends. Now here's the rest in peace BloodSeeker, my favorite character of all time. Sucks. He's been removed from captain's mode. Base movement speed from 300 to 290, so he's super slow now while without boots. Reworked Blood Rage, so instead of increasing the base damage and silencing, now amplifies all damage taken and dealt, including spells. A hero affected by Blood Rage buff who kills a unit will be healed 25% of the dying unit's max HP. However, heroes affected by Blood Rage when killed will heal 20% of the max health to the killer. This no longer dispels the target. Buff can be dispelled now. Duration is up to 12 seconds. Amplified damage is up to 40%. No mana cost. Cooldown can be as low as 6 seconds. Cast point is 0.2, which is I believe the same. Oh no, it's half their regular one, and can target spell immune, but spell immunity does remove it. This no longer silences or does damage over time. So what this basically does is now it's more of a utility thing instead of just a silence, because everybody, including me, would just get 1 point in silence or multiple points if we were talking just a whole bunch of like magic users like Invoker and stuff like that. Anything that doesn't have a good right click damage. Basically, so if you have it on you or any of your friends, your teammates there, and they kill something, they will get an extra, sorry, I'm skipping ahead of myself. If you put it on somebody, they get 40% added damage. If the person dies, if you kill somebody and you have it affected on you, you get 25% max HP. So it's buff who kills a unit will be healed for, so you get 25% of whatever you kill. However, heroes affected by Blood Rage when killed will heal 25%. So that's it's a gamble now. It really is a gamble unless you're farming. So if you use it on yourself, or use it on somebody else and they kill you, they will get 25% health, like like normal BloodSeeker, and yeah. And if you use it on yourself and you get killed, you heal them. So there's going to be a lot of healing going around, and especially with that 12-second duration. So if you put it on yourself because you want that 40 extra damage amplification, you can really go and kill somebody. But if you get killed, now you just healed somebody 25% of your max health. Now, this is a really good thing against like Centaur. Like, this is a Centaur Warrunner counter, in my opinion, because you could go and Blood Rage him. Now he's taking an extra, 40% damage. If you kill him and he's got, HP, because he's Centaur, he's got HP, you will get healed a lot. Or whoever you put it on, they will get healed a lot. So if you've got like an anti-mage or some other carry like Dro, something like that, and you want to get them healed and do a lot of damage, great item. So it's a gamble. So you're going to have to be really correct on how you're using this, because you can really screw yourself up if you're not careful. This, I think, also improves his jungling, because with a 12-second cooldown and 0 mana cost, you're able to just put it on yourself right before you do a last hit, and then, or last two before you do last hit, and then you'll get healed for 25% of whatever that target mana was. And since blood right was what was it, frick, bloodbath, I can't remember the exact numbers on bloodbath, and it's kind of a shame to say that, because but you getting 25% I think would make him a better jungler, because right now, like, he's easy to jungle with, but it takes forever because he doesn't hit very hard. So I think this would make him a better jungler overall. I'll have to try it, see how it works. But it's kind of you can't just go balls deep anymore. You just can't be like silence here, silence there. Just put it on everything. You gotta be careful with this now. Blood right, so that replaces bloodbath, which has been moved into the new blood rage. Targets an area and effect is visible to enemies, appears on the ground after 3 seconds. Enemies in the area are damaged in silence. So this could be really, really good, or it could suck balls. Because the area effect is 600, which is a large area. Cast range 1500. So that's more than. Was it about the same? I think no, that's got to be more than way more than Kunkka's torrents. So that's actually a huge cast range, like huge. But they can see it, so that's kind of the only downside. So if in the middle of a battle, you could cast this from a long ways away, and you get a 6-second silence, which is one of the longest silences in the game. That's like, Death Prophet. This is that kind of silence, and you get 240 pure damage. So it goes through BKB and all that, any spell immunities, and for 100 mana cost, which is hardly anything, and a 20-second cooldown. So you could use it twice in a battle if you wanted to. So if people aren't paying attention, and at the start when people pick BloodSeeker, they probably will forget about this new tactic. It's probably going to do. This is a really good spell. I mean, like, it's a really good spell. As long as you can get people, if you get a stun in or a channel, like if you get a channel in from Shadow Shaman, you can just put this right on them. They get silence. They can't escape. Like if it's a Weaver or something like that, that will get rid of silence. I don't know if Lincolns will be procced by this at all. So it's a good spell, but I guess it is for 20-second cooldown. You don't really have to worry about too much, but you're using a lot more mana, so you might be putting more Ring of Aquillas, more drums on BloodSeeker, but we'll see. I like to try it out, see what it is, but that's my thoughts on it. Thirst visibility and true sight gravity only when the target is at or below 30%, which sucks. That's a nerf. Instead of 50-25. Because if you're below 50, then you can see the people where they are and go over them and kill them, or get somebody else to kill them. So now 30%, that makes things suck. That's definitely a nerf in my opinion. Thirst now shows a debuff and visible effect to the enemy when they're revealed. That's another nerf to BloodSeeker here, because sometimes people forget, and now this time now help them not forget that they are being chased and killed. Thirst movement and damage bonuses are now proportional to how low the enemy's health is. Now this is a buff nerf kind of thing. Scales linearly with HP, meaning it gradually provides the bonus from 0% or 0 at 100% health to full bonuses at 1% health. Previously provided full bonuses at 50% and nothing above it. Thirst bonuses are independent from the vision granted at 30%. So basically, if everybody's kind of hurt before, you get nothing. But now people are hurt, it's going to scale so that you can have extra bonus damage while everybody's hurt, almost always hurt at some point. So now when you're not ganking, it's really good. But when you But yeah, when you basically that's a buff in general. I think so. You just you get your yeah. I think that's a buff. Yeah, overall, because I mean, except that the 40 or like the 49 to since you don't get the full buff between 49 and 1% there, that's a nerf there. But it can make you could be a better farmer, and you could also might get those more kills earlier on. That so it's kind of hit and miss. you know it makes you a less efficient killer when everybody's hurt, but it makes you more buff when they're not, give or take. Thirst movement speed and damage bonus increase from 5 to 35 to 10 to 40. So that's definitely a buff, no matter how you squeeze it. So really the debuff there with or the nerf on the lower end below 50% is not as bad with this. It's still Now this is huge in turn. This is like hero killing nerf here. Rupture no longer deals initial damage. So that means that damage that when you go run up to somebody and they're really low, they don't know you're coming, they're under 25% health, and you hit them with Rupture and maybe 1 or 2 attacks, you can't do that anymore. They're just gonna sit there and TP out, or something's gonna happen. So that's a huge nerf to his ultimate. It's bad. I mean, that's a big nerf right there. That alone might take him out of the pub stomp completely. He's forced now to be more of a team player, because eruption duration has increased from max 9 to 12, and cooldown reduced. Not really reduced, but 70, 60, 50 to 60 in general. So better early game, sucks late game. So the 12-second duration, it can be used on carries, so they don't run around. But unless somebody's got like a 4-staff, or like you've got a bat rider on the field, or something that can move that guy around, it's kind of the extra 3 seconds are kind of a waste, except for just to put a carry in his place and not have him move around. That's really about it, in my opinion. Either way, I think in general he's been nerfed. But he's been looking to get the ban hammer or the nerf hammer for a while. So kind of sucks. I liked him how he was before, but that's how it is. And so I have a new hero in mind for pub stomping, so I will go over that here in a bit. I'll let you know when I come across him. But that's my thoughts on BloodSeeker, and rest in peace, BloodSeeker, because I don't think you're just going to be the pub stomper that you used to be. This is a good buff to Bounty Hunter, because he's fallen off quite a bit. Shrike and Toss now bounces to all tracked units within a 900 range. That is good, because you track somebody and then you just throw a Shrieking. Awesome. That's a whole lot of extra damage. I can see that alone putting him up at least a tier extra in terms of where he's at right now. So you could see a lot more Bounty Hunter. I definitely consider picking him. Get a little bit more like I don't like Battle Fury on a Bounty Hunter, but I can definitely see it being a more useful tool with the added mana regen. I mean, you always could get a Medallion of Courage, but that's a huge buff to him. I like that one. Brewmaster, Drunken Brawler's critical straight evasion timer is increased from 10 to 16 to 10 seconds. You know what? He's needed a buff for a while. I hate fighting against him, depending on who I pick, right? So that's a good nerf to him. So that's okay. It's not going to take him out. It just makes his early game not as good. So it's a nerf, but not a huge nerf. Lots of changes to Brood Mother, because she's another crap tier, like Anti-Mage, Alchemist. She's fallen off hard because of the nerfs and various changes over the last year. So it seems like you can't tell what the heck she's doing. She's able to do one day to the next. Now, Spin Web now has charges and a 40-second replenish timer instead of a 30-second cooldown. So basically, Still has a max of 8 webs total, but this allows you to just throw out 4 webs really quickly if you wanted to. It makes it like Earth Spirits, Stone Remnants, or Ember Spirits. His what the hell? His Fire Remnants. So yeah, not a big Broodmother fan either way. So spin web time to enter hidden mode after taking damage increase. That's a huge debuff. That's her laning capability just nerfed completely. So she's already been nerfed. So I don't see why they're just keep giving the nerf hammer. Her win rate sucks. So you got that now. Movement speed bonus is doubled whenever Broodmother is hidden, having not taken damage recently. So that means that when she's hiding, she can go faster, which is cool. You know, spin, web, phasing, and speed bonuses now work on spiderlings, so they can move around more. Maybe avoid those Kunkka Tidebringers. Excuse me, I didn't get much sleep last night, so I'm a little tired. Spin webs are now selectable and have ability to destroy themselves, which is good. So you can just destroy useless ones and then still push with your 8 max toll to lanes that you rather have. That's a buff for sure. Spin web can now be cast from anywhere as long as the new web touches another. That's another buff there. You could have a string of just webs along a lane there, and you never even have to go to that lane. You can just keep spinning webs. From what I read of this, whenever Broodmother is taken out of spin web's free pathing, she destroys nearby trees. I'm assuming when you get out of a web and there's trees, you destroy the trees. That's or yeah, so if you destroy a web and you were inside trees, it destroys the trees, which I still think you can get stuck in some places, but maybe it depends on how many trees you destroy the nearby there. Centaur Warrunner got another nerf. I guess he is pretty powerful. I've got 100% win rate with him and 6.81 B. So if you get 100% and you play multiple games, because I do like playing Centaur, he's kind of a fun hero to play. That's a good sign that he needs a nerf. But yeah, so that's the mana cost is increased from 80 to 100. So he's more mana deprived. Now you can start seeing things like maybe a medallion on him being more useful, those kind of things, because he did receive a nerf to his stomp mana recently. So I don't think it's going to take him out, but it's a nerf. A nerf is a nerf. Chaos Knight Phantom Illusion duration increased from 24 to 34 seconds. That's a fairly big buff. That's giving you an extra 10 seconds. If you've got tough illusions, that can mean that could be a game breaker in terms of racks or not. So if you got an armlet toggled and you got a heart, those are going to be some gnarly illusions. So you'll see more Chaos Knight, I'm assuming, from that, especially with his recent buff of sometimes getting an extra illusion. Chan has received quite a few changes, so I'm not a Chan player, but he's got his uses. Penitence duration rebalanced from 7 to 5 to max of 8. Penitence slow and damage application. Well, this is basically excuse me. So this rebalance here means he sucks earlier game more, but later game it's a buff. Slow and damage application rebalance from 8 to 32 to 14 to 26. So that part is better early game and sucks later game. So, and now amplifies a damage source directly instead of attempting to redeal a percentage of damage, take it as physical damage. Yeah, so basically what's that saying is if you've used Penitence on somebody and Lena goes to alt them, now instead of it won't do as much damage as it would have before. Now it's just taken as physical damage. So if somebody, your carries are going to hit harder now. So Uh, but if they got more armor, then it's going to do less damage, right? That's my understanding of how this works, because the damage source is not being taken directly, so it's just it's going to physical. So armor will stop pittance, but if you have less armor, then it hurts more. In magic, will just do whatever magic does. It won't even matter. Cast range is increased to 800 from 600, which is a good buff. Holy Persuasion is no longer restricted from targeting spell immune neutral creeps. So you could get a golem, mud golem. Nobody would get a mud golem except for the fact that you can push with them and you can't use magic against them. But that's about it. I really don't see that as a huge buff at all, but I don't know. Ignum Scepter now allows Holy Persuasion to target ancient creeps, maximum 1 ancient creep per level of Hand of God. That is big because ancient creeps hurt. And if you get an ancient creep, gain 1 ancient creep at any given time, and then it's per level of Hand of God, so that means you could have 3 ancient creeps. Yeah, 3 ancient creeps. Push with that. That's a huge buff. More people are going to be playing Chen just to get the ancient creeps. Now they're going to be rushing Ag Scepter. It's not going to be the mech sheep stick that you typically see. Yeah, you're going to see mech eggs. That's why I think that's pretty huge actually. I can't even remember if ancients have any usable skills because you've never been able to use them ever. Can't use helm, you can't use anything else. This is it. So this would be interesting to see. I'll have to go look back on the creeps and see if they have any actives. I want to say they don't, but 2 of no, they're all spell immune, aren't they? So yeah, that's definitely a huge buff if you choose to go Egg Scepter. Clink's Searing Arrows is no longer an attack modifier. Like Hursa and Huskar, that got removed from last time. Clinks, you're probably going to see a little bit more Clinks now. He's going to be able to get a Mask of Madness, and he's going to be able to tear shit up. That's what that means. He's going to be able to, you'll be able to get 2 things, like you get Mask of Madness, and you get Medallion, and you are just going to watch things melt, because you go and do your Arrow Barrage, Mask of Madness, and you're going to heal on top of it too. So it's just like Huskar. You're going to heal while you're hitting and do both of those at the same time. I think this is like Ursa and Huskar can be severely abused if you choose your items right. Of course, you can get your Scotty, you can get whatever now on clicks. You can get a Satanic and a Scotty if you want to, if that's what you so choose. But I think getting Power Treads, Mask of Madness, and a Medallion is now Gank City. Like putting those together, you find anybody in a jungle, they're going to be dead before they even know what the hell hit them. So you got that now. You just got to be careful with the well, you'll be able to jungle more efficiently too with the Mask of Madness, but you gotta be careful about Clinks is squishy, so watch out for how much extra damage you take from the mask. You're gonna see a lot more Clinks, I think, from this buff. It's a huge buff for him. Clockwork Hookshot now pulls Clockwork to neutral creeps, normally like any unit. So before you just go right through them, and then you waste your cooldown. This basically is more of an escape gank technique, because I've always wanted this where I could just go get a neutral creep and just escape. You got eggs, it's 12 seconds cooldown. That's huge for escaping, because there's usually a creep within 1,000 range of you at any given time. So now you can just fire off one and just escape. You probably got phase boots, so that's a pretty good buff. I like that. If you're smart with Clockwork, that's a definite buff to him for escaping. Crystal Maiden, frostbite damage interval from 70 per 1 second to 50 per 0.5 seconds. So that is a buff. She's fallen off a bit lately, so still has 10 seconds on neutral creeps. So that's so 10 seconds. That's she's gonna be better for jungling. You can throw just the frostbite and it'll kill. She killed even the smashers, centaurs. She kill everything without you having to hit it. So you can focus on the smaller ones, and also that increases the damage that you do. She has fallen off recently, so it's good to see her get a buff. And the freezing field explosion radius increased from 230 to 250. I don't think those are game changers in any regard, but it's starting to might bring her back to where she was more of a pick all the time. I remember when she was picked like every game, like captain's mode, you had to ban Crystal Main because she was always being picked. This is going to bring her a little bit more back to it, but she still has a really low win percentage versus what she used to. Vacuum cooldown is scaled from 28 seconds to 28. What the hell is my browser doing? I think someone is just having fun here. So basically, vacuum cooldown is scaled from 28.0 to 28 seconds. There's no difference except for the fact that you seem to somebody was just playing with HTML5 or something. They were bored. That's kind of cool. So anyway, Agnum Scepter Weave armor reduction period per second increased from 1 max of 1.5 to 1.75. So that's a big buff to Dazzlin's Egg Scepter. I guess not a lot of people have been buying it on him, so that can cause some serious problems for everybody on the other team, and a buff for your carries. So you got that now. I don't know if that's going to make him any more picked than he usually is, but it's an okay buff. You know, that's an extra 1 armor per 4 seconds. Death Prophet. Rest in peace, Death Prophet, because this nerf, I mean, you're not going to see Death Prophet for a long time with this nerf. Exorcism cooldown increased from 115 to 135. That is big. I remember before it used to be 90 seconds and they buffed it to 115, which saw her tumble from picked all the time. I used to play Death Prophet all the time myself, so I'm not saying it was, you know, I wasn't not a foul of that, but now that's a 45-second increase over what it used to be. Now you could actually consider a refresher orb on her, as opposed to not jokingly refresher. That's actually a useful item. I don't think you're going to see much Death Prophet anymore. There's lots better pushers. You still got your Shadow Shaman. You've got, I mean, Tinker, well, I'll explain that more, but he's an iffy. You still got Nature's Prophet. You got those guys. Death Prophet. She's got her silence. She can farm fairly fast. She's fast. But her ult is what makes her shine, and now that's been just 20-second nerf. That's huge. So you're going to see a lot less of her. Doom now requires Agnum Scepter to disable passives because of how they've reworked damage stuff now, which means that you know, things like Bristleback, he's no longer just a straight counter Bristleback. You need to farm an eggs. Eggs Refresher is probably going to be the more common build on Doom now versus things like AC and mech and those kind of things. Doom ability cast point increased from 0.3 to 0.5, so overall that's a nerf to Doom. I don't think it's deserved, but the disable passive thing is I don't think you can disable passives really much anymore without the egg. So I don't think Sheep disables passives anymore. I'll have to check and see if that's been changed too. But so nerf to him. I don't think you'll see any difference in play, but still sucks. Frost Arrow slow increase from 1160 to 1560, so that makes her Frost Arrows considerably better early game. So she's can be more of a ganker. She again, like, lower win rates with her over the last little bit. I used to like to play her a lot, but then you know, you can always get sniper, right? So this will make her early game for ganking better, but I don't think it's changes much at all. You know, it's only a little bit slow extra. So Earth Spirit, character I never used, but definitely needed a lot of change because guess what? He sucks unless you really know how to play him. So he has a low win rate. He was the lowest at one point. Grants Earth Spirit a new ability, Enchant Remnant, which lets him temporarily convert a hero into Stone Remnant. So somebody's inside of a black hole, or they got I don't know, some sort of stun or whatnot. That's you can do that. And it's for 3 seconds, so it's just to save somebody while something's happening. Maybe a gyro alt. And releasing the hero while dealing 30 damage in a 30 radius. So, I don't remember reading about the damage before but apparently, yeah, you also do damage. So it's even better to use when there's a crowd around, of course, especially if they've been stunned or something like that. So they can't do anything on their own. They're invulnerable and all that kind of stuff. That's kind of cool. That's a definite buff for him. There's if you get eggs, right? Boulder Smash unit targeting now only selects units. They never play him, so really. Boulder Smash point targeting now knocks back the closest remnant within 200 area effect in the direction selected. Not reset unless a unit is struck. So you will get a reset if you run to a remnant. Geometric Grip, Silence Rebalanced. So now it's an extra. It's better early game, but sucks late game. The damage rebalanced, so it's sucks early game, but is better late game. And the pull speed on allies has been reduced, so easier to catch up with people, especially at 600. That's a little bit above haste. So nerf and buff at the same time. But nerf definitely on the pull speed. Stone Remnant drop range reduced from 1400 to 1100, so that's definitely a nerf on his part. Fixed Stone Remnant being unable to travel at projectile as a projectile through Chronosphere, so that's a buff there because you can just smack Void through the Chronosphere. I suppose you weren't able to. Fixed Stone Remnants not appearing in Fog of War. That's obviously a buff / bug fix. Magnetized search radius increased from 300 to 400, so that's a buff to his alt. And magnetized stone remnants disappear after 8 seconds instead of 5. So that's less of a buff there, because that's a good buff because it emits. They explode and they emit the magnetism, so that's a 3-second buff. So maybe you'll see more play from him. He's still a high skill hero, so you really gotta play him a lot, like Meepo, in order to see anything good out of him. I've been thinking about learning to play him, but it's a lot of extra work. Like I know how to play him, but I don't know how to play him. So we'll see. Earthshaker Fissure no longer has unit targeting, so just like Neex's, his Fissure skill was a spike, or not spike Kerberos. Crap. It's the same as Lion. It's not crap. I can't remember what it is. It's the spiky things that come out of the ground when he chooses to dig his claws in. That's what it is. And it's no longer blockable by Lincoln Sphere, so kind of like Nyx's Q attack. So a nerf to him, but I don't think that bad of a nerf. So you just gotta be more careful with how you use your Q on him. Add an Egnum Scepter on Elder Titan. I like playing Elder Titan. He's a fun character. I win really often with him when I play him, and he's very versatile. This is going to make him, want to get eggs. Causes units that are pulled in by Earth Splitter to be disarmed in addition to being slowed. Slow / disarmed duration increase from 3/4/5 to 4/5/6. And before you just got 1 point in his ult because the slow was whatever, right? But them being disarmed for 6 seconds, if you catch like 3 characters or heroes and maybe 2 of them are carries in that's huge. That's a team weight in the making. That can flip a battle completely. So I'm gonna say that you're probably gonna see more Elden Titan. He's still a higher skill hero, so a lot of people don't like to play him, but he's one I like. But you'll see more of him, and you'll see eggs on him. That's a huge team fight advantage. That's like, oh, that's huge. I don't know who to compare it to. There's not really a comparable skill, but also natural order armor reduction increased from max 25, 50, 75, 100 to 40, 60, 80, 100. So his early game is better. It's an awesome harassing tool there. Is when you get close to an enemy and you just smoke them one. That's great there. And the magic resistance reduction increased from 8, 16, 25, 33 to 12, 19, 26. So his early game and his team fight capabilities have risen. He was a good character to begin with. You're going to probably see him a lot more again because he did fall off, but still he's one of the characters I really like. So that's that's kind of that. It's good that he got that buff, in my opinion. So Enchantress base movement speed increased 5. Yeah, it's a whatever. I mean, she gets extra movement speed. I mean, that helps with her ultimate, but it's not a big deal. I wouldn't even worry about that one. Pretend it didn't happen. Enigma Midnight Pulse cooldown increased from 25 to 35. Apparently, that's been abused because they did buff that huge. Like it did a lot of damage, extra damage now, and increased the range, I believe. So, and then Black Hole max damage rebalanced from it does less early game and more late game. The area effect is increased 200, so his ults, late game it's definitely buffed, but early game is not as buffed. So nerfed early game, buffed late game, but the area effect has increased, so that's probably worth the price of admission of the nerf anyways. And the minimum area effect, minimum damage area effect reduced from 500 to 400. So you get less of that damage effect from that from the range there. So yeah, so the extra 200, it's a buff. It's a buff in my opinion, and the cost has been rebalanced, so you save 25 late game, but you add 25 early game. So basically, they're saying Enigma they want him to be a later game hero as opposed to an earlier game hero, is what I'm reading from this. Faceless Void, Chronosphere area effect reduced from 450 to 425. And thank you, because I'd like to see some nerfs on this guy because he's played almost every freaking game. And then, of course, you're stuck getting like a sniper and stuff like that, so you can hit him from outside that, or you get yourself a Heaven's Halberd so that he can't, whenever he ults everybody else, you just go right beside there and you Heaven's Halberd, and then he's like, well, what the hell are they going to do now? So that's been changed. A flying vision area reduced from 1,000 to 425, so you can only see inside there for that vision radius, so you don't get added vision. Chronosphere no longer disables passives, so that's like bristleback. You could kill yourself now against that, so you gotta watch out. And Chronosphere's effect no longer linger for an extra 0.5 seconds like normal auras do at the end of duration. So it's a nerf overall, less faceless voids, kind of good because I'm getting sick of seeing him. Homing missile maximum damage increased from 440 to 500. Overall, it's been buffed from 15 to 60. You're not going to see much more gyrocopter out of this, but still a great harassing item, so it's a buff. He's probably saying, hey, he's still around, you can still play him, but whatever. He'll see more buffs in the future. I'm sure that's what he's going to do. Now, for my replacement pub stomp hero, Huskar. Right now, I just about have as good as a win percentage as I do with BloodSeeker on him, so it's close to 70% win rate. with the 6.81B patch, since they removed his ability to or his attack unique attack modifier, and you could heal while using flaming spears. That was the big thing for me. But this stuff here, this is going to make him the pump stomp hero in my opinion. For me personally, I will be picking a lot of Huskar. He's going to be my BloodSeeker replacement. Inner Vitality cooldown reduced from 25 to 25, 22, 19, 16. So I've always, thought that the cooldown was a little high. Now it's lower, so late game you can just spam that crap because it's basically going to be off cooldown all the time, and you're constantly going to be healing. That's going to be awesome. Yeah, that late game, yeah, it may be worth getting it a little bit earlier now because usually it's like 4 in Flaming Spears, 4 in Berserker's Blood, alts, and then you get 1 after everything's all said and done. Then you get 1 Inner Vitality. Berserker's Blood attack speed bonus increased from 8, 12, 16, 20 to 14, 16, 18, 20. So early game, he attacks quicker when he's hurt. Ouch for everybody else, because that's a big buff for his early game, because that's really his weakness. Is if he gets his snowball early game, then that's where his weakness was if he couldn't, and then late game he played catch up. But better early game, so much better. Excuse me. So life break cooldown reduced from 45, 30, 15 to 12. It's kind of like his egg scepter. Well, not quite. I mean, his egg scepter is like 4, but still. That means from the get-go, you can jump people and you can just go. Because I've been in situations lots of times where 45 seconds is just too long. I'm already ready to jump the next person. This way, 12 seconds done. That's a huge buff. Life break damage reduced from 50 to 35%. Agnum Scepter is still 65%. Now that's a nerf to him, obviously. So he won't hurt as much when he hits. But they counteract that with his self damage rebalance from 40, 35, 30 to 35%. So it's only extra 5% added on late game, but early game it's less. So I don't like that it does less damage, but it's still once the Berserker's Blood attack speed bonus early game probably makes up for that, and the fact that you can jump twice in a single battle at level 1. That's a little bit of a nerf there, but you kind of expect that with such rebalancing. Our life break slow duration rebalance from 5 to 4, 5, 6. So late game, that's better. Early game, not so much. It's only an extra second. Usually everybody's dead early game at 4 seconds anyway. So I don't think that really makes a huge difference early game, but late game it does. Life break slow rebalance from 50% to 40, 50, 60%. So yeah, that's definitely an improvement there. So 60%. His late game is better. His early game is better in my opinion. And the only thing is that life break damage reduction. That's the only downside. But everything else, you're probably going to see a lot of Huskar, and you're probably going to see a lot of pub stomping. I like using him. I like getting like your lifesteal on him, of course. You kind of need it on him. It's core. So sorry about my daughter there. She's a little cranky when she wants to go to bed. So great hero overall here now. You're going to see a lot more of him, I think. He was nerfed quite a bit before, but now you're going to see him. Invoker, tornado flying damage reduced from 1200 to 600, or not damage, visionary, and tornado damage from 2 times Wex plus Quas to 3 times Wex. Okay, we're back. Jakiro here, and so he's been buffed. He's a little, slightly worse early game with a 28% attack slow rebalance and movement slow rebalance. But late game, it's a plus 10%, so easily a buff for him. I don't see him. You're gonna see him a little bit more, but I don't think that's that big of a difference. But you never know. Juggernaut, the following abilities no longer cancel Blade Fury. So Chronosphere, Toss, Black Hole, Global Silence, Doom, all those don't work on him anymore when okay, they work on him, but they don't cancel the Blade Fury. The Blade Fury cooldown has been reduced from the initial point to later on. It's not the, it's an overrated ability in my opinion, because it scales horribly in terms of damage. It's good for the just the spell immunity is really what it's there for, in my opinion. So maybe the cooldown will help that. But I think he's more of a pusher. You get healing ward. You get to level 2 or 3. If you can get your team to cooperate, you can start taking down tier 1 towers without the creeps, because there's no backdoor protection, right? You just trade off who takes the tower aggro, and before you know it, it's gone. So yeah, I think he's more of a pusher. I don't think that makes a huge difference. Depends on how you play him, but I don't think it's that big of a difference. Keeper of the Light, mana leak, mana removal percentage increased from 3.5 to 5 to just straight 5. So that's obviously a buff to him, especially early game. Mana leak duration increased from 4, 5, 6, 7 to 5, 6, 7, 8. So more buff to the mana leaks. They're basically trying to say, hey, get it more, get it earlier. It's a ganking tool. Use it. Recall can now target invulnerable allies affected by Song of Siren. So your carry is stuck in Song of Siren and he's about to get nuked. You can pull him back. Great new move. Blinding Light knockback distance increased from 250 to 400, which is a definite buff. He had some good buffs, but I didn't think he was quite there. This definitely helps him go in the right direction, because late game he sucks. He really sucks late game, but early game he's really good. So I hope this improves him, because he's a cool character, but obviously he's seen better days. So X marks the spot cooldown increased from 13 to or decrease changed from 13 to 14, 13, 12, 11. So you can use it more often. I'm just wondering, can you cast it on 2 people now? Because if I'm correct, there's a 14-second time lapse, or whatever you want to call it, when you use it on yourself, or when a friendly unit. Or hero. I don't know if you can use it on you. I don't remember. But so it's 14 seconds. So if you're able to walk out, and after 11 seconds, then you could X mark to spot somebody else at the same time. So you could use it as an extra ganking tool, but be safe on your own. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there's some utility there that I'm not thinking of, but it's a buff regardless. Not a huge deal breaker, I think, or buff, but still there. Legion Commander now enabled in Captain's mode. Yay! You can lose duels in Captain's mode now. Duel no longer disables passive, so good luck dueling Bristleback. Or, well, I guess you can still duel Bristleback because it's from the front, but anybody like so Spectre, that's going to be a hard duel, I think. No, that's not it either. Guys with passives that I think, like so Spell Shield on Animage, that should be disabled. Well, it used to be disabled, now it doesn't anymore, so it doesn't matter anyways. Overwhelming odds base damage from 60 to 180 now is 40 to 160, so that's been definitely debuffed or nerfed. And press the attack mana cost from 80 to 110. So she's seen a nerf. I guess they decided she was too powerful, and there you go. Hold on a second. Come on and get down with the sickness, because boy, I'm starting to feel that cold. I don't think Gonna be in too good a shape tomorrow. Leshrac Pulse Nova damage increased from 80, 120, 160 to 100, 130, 160. Damage, scepter damage, adds an extra 60 early, 30 mid, and then 220 is the same. So definitely early game boost to Pulse Nova, because that's one of those, when I was playing lots of Leshrac, it was like at level 8, level 9, level up kind of thing, right? So maybe this is kind of getting them to do it earlier because it does more damage. And the activation cost has been reduced from 110 to 70, 90, 110. So that's what I think it is just they're saying, hey, Leshrac, or better earlier late game to get this ultimate. Ice Armor on Lich slows ranged heroes for a full amount instead of half. Good buff. I like Lich. He's one of my favorite supports. I got he's my highest support in terms of win rate right now. In terms of for this patch, like right now, I think he's at 83% or something like that win rate. So yeah, he wins a lot. I win a lot with Lich. So he's fun to play. Especially I like getting the eggs on him. That's infinity eggs. He's eventually going to see a nerf, I think, but we'll see. I don't think enough people play him, so that's probably why he hasn't seen a nerf hammer on his ult. Maybe you'll see more of him. I don't. This is not going to make people pick him anymore, but it's a cool extra buff. Lena Light Strike array cast range increased from 600 to 625, and the stun duration has been increased from a max of 1 point increase 16, 17, 18, 19 to 16, 18 to 2.2. So the stun has been increased and the range has been increased. Good buff, nothing crazy. I don't think you're going to see much more from this buff. Just a little extra to help you out. Lion Earth spike damage increased from 60, 130, 200, 260 to 80, 140, 200, 260. So better early game is what that's there for. But again, nothing crazy. That's not going to make a huge difference in terms of how much he's being picked. Lone Druid. Spirit Bearer now has 300 mana. So that allows him to, I guess, use items with mana. Like he can use a Mask of Madness. I'm assuming that's what it is. And Spirit Bear using Hand of Midas now grants the experience to Lone Druid. That's quite a bit of a buff. Yeah, that's especially since everybody gets Hand of Midas on Lone Druid for juggling. I'd watch out for Lone Druid. You're going to see a lot more of them. And they're all going to have Midases. Like it. GG, well played. Rest in peace, Lycan. You're not going to get picked anymore at all. This nerf, this is really, really, really harsh. So, like I was saying before with the Roche pit and all that, if you're a solo Rocher, things are harder now. Somebody can put a ward there, and if you can see into the Roche pit, you're done. So Ursa, Lycan, those kind of people, now it's a lot tougher, especially early game Rochers. So Shapeshift no longer grants 1.5 base attack time. So he attacks the same when he shapeshifts. Shapeshift cooldown increased from 170-40 to 120-90-60. Shapeshift speed increased from 522 to 650. That's a good buff, nice to have that extra speed. Shapeshift now has a 1.5 second transformation time. So all that speed that you have, you're not going to get as much distance. Your escape's gone now. You cannot escape really because they're going to be all over you in 1.5 seconds. You'll be dead in 1.5 seconds. The cooldown has been increased, so you can't use it as liberally. You don't attack as hard. These are huge nerfs. Like, the fact that they took away his 300 HP, that was a huge nerf in itself. This is just crazy. I think this is way overdone, and you're just not going to see Lycan. I mean, his ultimate is trash now. It used to be good, now it's trash. I mean, 60-second cooldown at max. That 1.5 seconds transformation time, that's what's going to kill him. It's like being Sand King sitting there and charging up your ult. This one is almost the same. I know Sand King's a little bit longer, but in reality, it'll feel like about the same amount of time. And you also hit less, but you go faster. So you basically you can use it as an initiation attack, but you still hit less. So it's just you're not going to see much Lycan. He's garbage tier now, in my opinion. After this, he's or just a pusher. That's it. You know, you're just not going to see as much. There's better pushers out there. So rest in peace there, Lycan. Magnus Empower is no longer removed by spell immunity. Good. Empower mana cost increased from 40 to 30, 40, 50, 60. So everybody forgets to put it on when they're playing Magnus. They forget to put it on heroes anyway. So I don't think it's that big of a deal that it's been increased. But it is a nerf to him regardless. So I don't think it's that much. Medusa, mana shield damage absorption rate increased from 50% to 60%. It buffed there as long as you got the mana. Mystic Snake outgoing speed increased from 633 to 800, and the return speed reduced from 833 to 800. So slight return speed nerf, but huge outgoing speed, so you can definitely hit a lot more people with it. So that's buff. Mystic Stake mana steal increased from 20, 30, 40, 50 to 20, 35, 50, 65. So she's been buffed. You're going to see more of her. I don't think this is super crazy, like you're going to see her picked all the time buff, but it's definitely, it's a boost in the right direction for her. You hardly ever get her, seen her get picked, so this helps. Meeple's clones boot item slot now match whatever slot Meeple Prime has his boots in. So if you're a Meeple player, now you have the ability to, I guess, tread switch or phase boots, or well, everybody gets tranquil boots on him anyway, so I don't know. But you have that ability to not have to think about using the one slot anymore. That's about it. Mirana got a nerf with the leap speed reduced from 2000 to 1600, so she doesn't jump as far, and it's been rebalanced with a buff to from 630, 720, 780, 870 to 600, 700, 800, 900. So early game it's a nerf, late game it's a buff. So I guess overall it's a nerf. Yeah, I don't know, just a rebalancing, nothing special there really. I wouldn't even worry about too much. It's just the leap speed reduce. Nature's Call, Treant Magic resistance reduced from 20% to 0%. So he now takes extra magic damage when he is using Nature's Call. That's what I'm assuming that's what it says. I'm not totally sure. Yeah, that's well, I mean, when you make the treants there, yeah, so 20%. Yeah, so basically, if you're like a Death Prophet, Shao Sham, or something like that, you're much easier for you as a magic user, spell user, to kill his treants and farm them. So it's a nerf to him. If you're careful with your treants, it's not that big of a nerf. You just move them somewhere else, throw them in the jungle, and have them farm a small creep and get a little extra gold. So I don't think that's big of a deal. But if you're not careful, you can feed the other team quite a bit. So it's a nerf. Necrophos, Reaper's Scythe added respawn time penalty from 30% to a constant 30 seconds. I guess that's a buff in this regard there, because I can't remember what the max time is. Is it 120 seconds? Saying 30% of 120, which is 36. So late 25. If they're level 25, it's a nerf, but anything below that, I think it's a buff. So, yeah, that's I think overall that's a buff for him. How he's played and how often people go to 25. Yeah, it's a buff. Night Stalker, Hunter in the Night, attack speed increased from 45, 55, 65, 75 to 45, 60, 75, 90. That's good. That's really good. Darkness duration increased from 25, 50, 80 to 40, 60, 80. So early game, he's gotten a buff, and late game, he's also gotten a buff with his nighttime stuff. So that's pretty decent. You don't see too much Night Stalker right now, so it's good to see that kind of buff. I don't think it's going to make him get picked a lot more, but maybe a little bit more. People catch on, you might see him a bit. I might try him a little bit more now. Ogre Magi, one of my most hated heroes to play against. I hate getting stunned, and you get all of his random rolls, and all of a sudden you're dead, right? You just nuked you. So his base HP, regeneration increased from 0.25 to 2.5. That's big. That's a lot of regen for early game. So Fire Blast damage reduced from 80, 140 to 10, 275 to 60, 120, 180, 240. Thankfully, that's a nerf for his Fire Blast, which annoys you early game in the lane. It really does. 2 times multicast chance increased from 25, 40, 50 to 40, 50, 60. Now, unfortunately, you're going to see more of those. Multicast spread interval increased from 0.3 to 0.4 effects Ignite and Fire Blast. So basically, that's you're probably not going to hardly notice that, but that makes it the multicast take a little bit more time to actually proc. I think overall this is going to cause him to be played a lot more. He's a really good support, like good stuns, good setups, and all that kind of stuff too. As played as a carry, don't play him as a carry. I've had so many people that are just kind of like try and play him as a carry, and his late game just sucks. It just doesn't add. It doesn't mesh well with his abilities. So he ends up taking the kills, the experience, the gold from other true carries, and that hurts their late game. So he's a semi carry at best. This improves him, but I mean, still him as a carry, that's, in my opinion, that's not a good idea, but that's just my opinion. Omni Knight, base armor increased by 1, purification damage increase, area effect increased from 240 to 260. So been buffed, better in lane, more purification range. Not huge, but I hate fighting against Omni Knight, and I'm sure most people do. So you're going to see him a lot more now, since he's already being picked a lot now. You're going to see him a lot. He's going to be one of those core supports. Outworld Devourer, another guy you don't get to see much anymore, so he's received a couple buffs. Essence Aura chance to activate increased from 10, 20, 30, 40% to straight 40%. So you can heal up your mana a lot. You're probably not going to run out of mana as much anymore, or at all anymore. Or Essence Aura percentage of mana resource restored reduced from 25 to 10, 15, 20, 25%. There's the balance, but I still think with 40% you end up it's more a buff. I'd have to get out a calculator and really see, but yeah, that's I think that's a buff in general. Agnum Scepter, Sanity's Eclipse now always triggers the mana drain, which is obviously a buff. So anytime you use it, they're losing mana. So, which is good for any high mana ticket people like your Death Prophet, Shadow Shaman. If you can't use his Refresher Orb and Snakes, those kind of things. So you're gonna see a little bit more of him, but not. I don't know if that's gonna make a huge amount. That Essence or a buff, I think will make a difference. But Phantom Assassin, Assassin. Blur Minimap Hide now has the opposite effect and is active when no enemies are near. So she hides on the minimap, I guess. I'm not sure what they mean by opposite effect. Yeah, that's what I'm assuming. Phantom Lancer. He has been reworked, and let's see if I can explain this properly, because I wasn't quite sure I understood it properly. So agility. Well, he's removed from Cannons mode, obviously. So no Cancer Lancer there in Cannons mode. Agility gain reduced from 4.2 to 3.0, so he's at BloodSeeker's level now. I mean, he used to be huge. Now Ricky's #1 in agility, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, that's a huge nerf, but depends on how it works, right? Base agility increased from 23 to 29, so that kind of offsets that because you 1.2, so that's let's see, math here. What's 6 divided by 1.2? That's what, 5, right? So, um, so it's after 5 levels, or so you you're better off now your first 5 levels, but after that your agility is much lower than it used to be. Base strength increased from 18 to 21, which is okay, good, you know, extra 2. So Spirit Lance unchanged, nothing to see here. Passive Phantom Rush, a passive basic ability for Phantom Lancer or his illusions, quickly close the distance to an enemy. Phantom Rush. Passive with cooldown. Triggers when issuing an attack order on an enemy unit outside of attack range. Grants bonus movement speed and phase until Phantom Lancer strikes his target. So basically my understanding is if you can't hit him, and I guess minimum distance, so he has to be at least 300 units away from you and less than 900 at max level. If you try to attack him, you should be able to move faster and phase, is what my understanding is. So less need for diffusal blade now, I think, and cooldown goes from 16 down to 4. Illusions also have this passive, and if the attack order on the original target is cancelled, the speed bonus is lost. Bonus is lost. So I don't know how long it lasts on you, or if it's just until you hit that target. You just keep going until you hit that target, or you stop and do something else and then you lose it. That's my understanding, which can be a good ability for chasing. It's a great ability for chasing. It depends on how much the actual speed is. It doesn't even really say grants bonus movement speed. How much is bonus movement speed? 12%? I don't know. We'll find out later when they release more detail. Target Doppelganger. A new ability for dodging immediate danger and confusing enemies with deceiving illusions. Target an area at Phantom Lancer and all nearby illusions will disappear for 1 second and then have their positions shuffled into the target area. This also creates 2 illusions of the opposite types. So this is a little bit of a complicated one because you create 2 illusions. One deals 0% damage and takes 100% damage. So if you're running away and they attack that one, they shouldn't know the difference because same damage. And illusion 2 deals 20% damage and takes 600% damage. So it does a little bit of damage, but it will pretty much die in 1 strike. Illusion duration's 8 seconds. So basically what you would want to do is you take your 2 guys, your 3 guys, and you spread them out. You know, like click, click, click. And then they're going to have to choose 1 of 3. Or, you know, kind of pick between the 2 of them that take 100% damage and see which one. So the cast range is 600, target area radius is 325, and illusion gather range is 900. So huge illusion range that you can gather towards. We need to see how this all works. So basically my understanding is if you have other illusions, if you have a bunch of illusions, they will disappear for a second and then reappear, and then you'll have 2 extra illusions and everything's going to be jumbled. So that's my understanding, and it has a really low cooldown at max level of 10. Ability dodges incoming projectiles, which would be great for, you know, stun, like Sven's stun or whatever, and allies can see, I think you can disjoint that one, I can't remember. Allies can see which, yeah, you should be able to. Allies can see which illusion takes 100% damage. So I'm not sure how you'll be able to see that. Now his juxtapose his ultimate allows both Phantom Lancer's illusions to create more illusions, which was always the case. But grants Phantom Lancer illusion a chance to create illusion when attacking. 6, 8, 10 max, so you can get up to 10 max illusions. 8 when created by the Phantom Lancer, 4 second duration when created by his illusions. Hero chance is 50%, while illusion chance is 8%. Illusion damage taken 50%. Illusion damage dealt 16%. I don't know the stats on the top of my head with how normal Phantom Lancer works, but it's different now. And juxtaposed illusions attack the target that the passive is triggered on. Yeah, sure. Anyways, hold on a second. Okay, sorry about that again. Still got the cold. Phoenix added Agnum's Scepter. Allows Phoenix to cast Supernova on an allied hero, bringing both into the sun to be reborn together. This does not refresh either hero's ultimate. 500 cast range. If the sun is destroyed, both heroes will die. A good way to get people really pissed off at you, especially carries. But if you end up, if you got a carry that's really high, really hard carry, and they're low and they need to get back into the battle right away, you can just alt on him and then he'll be full health. You both be full health. Or you can try and risk it in the middle of if somebody's gonna die anyways, an allied hero, like if you got a Shadow Shaman and whatnot, and he's trying to run away, and you can just get him inside the alt there. If you both die, you're both gonna die anyways. But if you end up getting it, then you can. Then more power to you because you just healed two people. Now, actually, with Terrorblade, that would work really well with his ultimate because, well, he's not his ultimate, his transform there, because that's not an ultimate. So, and it's got a really long cooldown, so that would change his cooldown or reset his cooldown. So, I don't know, it's if you're in the right hands, it's good. Wrong hands, bad. I don't think that's going to change Phoenix's pick rate or win rate at all, really. Pudge, turn rate improved from 0.5 to 0.7, so he can hook better now. People are going to still pick Pudge. He could hit for 5 damage and be killed in one shot, and people will still freaking pick him. You know who you are. You an invoker. Yeah. So anyways, nothing special there. Puck. Dream Coil no longer ignores invisible units or illusions, so good luck trying to escape by Shadow Walk. Agnum Scepter Dream Coil Snap Stun now pierces spell immunity, so BKB is not going to save you. And Agnum Scepter Dream Coil Snap Stun duration increased from 1.5, 2.25, 3 to 1.5, 3, 4.5. So good buff to Puck there. He's a fun player to play, or fun hero to play. And this is going to give him that buff where you're probably going to see him a lot more. Well, I mean, not a lot more, but a bit more. And you're going to see a lot more team fights. Because due to the pushing buff, or the pushing nerf, why am I saying buff? The nerf here, you're going to see a lot more team fights. So this is, you're going to see more Puck. You're going to see more Puck, definitely. Pugna, Medic. Life Drain can now be targeted on allies, allowing Pugna to drain his own life into them. Why I say Medic is, he's a Medic now. So if he's got like a Bloodstone or something like that, or heck, a Heart is now a reasonable item on him with this ability. So you can, if you got Eggs and Heart, you can refill your carry. You can't cast your what the hell is it? It's your real mode. Can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. But if you cast that on yourself, and then you start draining into your hero, it's like better than being IO. Yeah, that's a buff. A decent buff, and it's going to cause players to play him in a way where they want to get him like a lot of health regen to compensate for the life drain. So good buff. Pugna's okay, but I'm not really good at him, but that's a buff overall, so you're going to see a little bit more of him now. Queen of Pain, base attack time improved from 1.7 to 6.0, remove unit targeting from Sonic Wave, and Sonic Wave file area effect increased from 300 to 450. Good buff. You're not going to still see a lot of her. She's fallen off hard, and this is kind of a little push in the direction of, hey, she's still there. You can still use her. Base attack time, really, like that improves her mid game a little bit, right? And then the Sonic Wave, final area boost, but I don't know if that's really going to make that huge of a difference. So Razor, if I remember, yeah, there's a little bit of a nerf game here to him. So plasma field minimum damage from 60, 100, 140, 180 to 30, 50, 70, 90. So definitely quite a nerf there. That's a half. The max is still the same, but people closer to him, that's a nerf, big nerf. Static link no longer ignores a Lincoln sphere. So you can't go through that. I wonder if you can go through BKB. Should be able to still go through BKB now. Stack link mana cost from 20, 30, 40, 50 to 50. Another nerf there. And Eye of the Storm no longer lingers out through Aegis Reincarnation. Nerfs him here. You're going to see him play less because of this. They don't seem like much, but I think they can add up, especially this the low range minimum damage. That's a pretty big one. The static link one I don't think is much of a difference, especially like it's not used too much early game anyway, so you should have 50 mana. And the Eye of the Storm thing is like usually your storm's almost dead anyways by the time you die most of the time. So or Aegis is given to somebody else unless your eggs refresher. But the plasma field is a big nerf to him. I feel like he's going to get picked a lot less. Ricky's had a few changes here. His base movement speed nerfed by 10. His base damage reduced by 10. Those are pretty big early game nerfs. Base HP regeneration reduced from 1.5 to default 0.25. So one of his best laning abilities was the fact that he got such a big base HP regen boost. Now it's gone, so his laning abilities suck now. This is probably all due to like pub games that are like the 2000 MMR kind of range there, where people Ricky can be a big nuisance, but once you get higher up in the MMR, he kind of gets countered really easy. Permanent invisibility is now basic ability, so that's a big buff to him. So he can get invis immediately, and he could go he could grab experience the entire time and not have to worry about it. The permanent invisibility fade delay is from 321 to 8642, so you have to watch out because you will be exposed for 8 seconds if you do anything. So you got that. People are going to buy more wards if Ricky's in laning. So permanent invisibility now provides 4, 5, 6, 7 HP regen while invisible. The regeneration is disabled whenever it breaks out of his invisibility. No one is revealed. So kind of like Slark's, except not nearly as fast. So that counteracts his base HP regen. So he can stay in lane for a really long time as long as they don't buy a Sentry Ward and start hitting him. So he can soak up a lot of experience and be at no danger basically, which is a pretty good buff in his for his laning thing, especially with the base damage removal and all that crap. So he could be a solo offlaner, no problem now. Blink Strike is now an ultimate and can target spell immune. So basically you can Blink Strike people with BKB. Blink Strike bonus damage from 30, 60, 90, 120 to 50, 70, 90. So that's been nerfed. Blink Strike now has 3, 4, 5 charges with a 30-second replenish timer, just like Earth Spirit Stone Remnants, instead of a 20, 15, 10, 5 cooldown. So what that means here is 5 times 90 means you can hit somebody for 450 and keep chasing them, keep chasing them, keep chasing them. And if you got a Diffusal Blade, you can chase them till they die. So that's what that's there for. And the mana cost reduced from 50 to 40, and Blink Strike cast range increased from 700 to 800. So he's got quite a bit of buffs here, in my opinion. And then he's laning. His ability to get gold has been decreased, but his ability to gain experience has been increased. So, maybe you'll see more Ricky in higher level games. I don't know. But we'll see. We'll see how it pans out. Or Shadow Demons, you don't see much of him anymore. A Soul Catcher now amplifies damage by 20, 30, 40, 50 instead of attempting to redeal 20, 30, 40, 50 percent of the damage as pure damage. So I guess now that means it amplifies the damage. So if it's physical, it adds 50% physical. Magic, it adds 50% magic, and then 50% pure. So that's just damage types. That's what I believe it does. An Egg Scepter, Genomic Purge charges increase from 2 to 3. So yeah, that's a pretty big buff as long as you get eggs. And the Soul Catcher depends on who's your guy. I don't think that's enough really to see him more in like the solo MMR or solo ranked stuff, but you never know. He's a difficult hero to play, in my opinion. It can be really good if you know how to do it. Shadow Fiend, he's got a whole new look. And the Necromancer soul cap increased from 12, 20, 28, 36 to 15, 22, 29, 36 means early game he can get more souls. So early game, mid lane, he's going to excel better. Requiem the Soul's debuff is now applied when the wave hits units instead of in a slightly smaller area independently. You probably won't notice. Requiem Soul slow increase from 20% to 25%. Again, you probably won't notice too much on that. That's like hardly anything at all. It's really that soul cap that's going to be a difference. And then again, it only adds an extra. It's a slight buff is what he's gotten. So you'll see a little bit more of him, but I don't think it's going to change too much of his pick or win rating. Shadow Shaman. Shackles manage mana cost rebalance from 110, 130, 155, 180 to 140, 150, 160, 170. Means the early game ganks are going to be a little bit tougher because you got less mana. And Mass Serpent War cooldown increased from 110 to 120. So that's a bit of a nerf. He was a little overpowered with, especially if you got Eggs Refresher. Like you put Eggs Refresher on a tower and Rax, and they were all three of them were gone, right? So this will make it probably a little bit more balanced. You'll see a little bit less of him after this balancing, but I don't think he's out of the picture yet. Silencer, Glaives of Wisdom, percent intelligence to damage from 30, 45, 60, 75 to 30, 48, 66, 84. So there's buff there. I hate playing against Silencer. I'm sure everybody else in the world does too, but I guess he is getting a buff. And Global Silence mana cost from 250, 350, 450 to 250, 375, and 500. An extra 25, 50 mana, whatever, really. Unless he's got Eggs Refresher, unless he's got Refresher Orb, and he went straight to Refresher Orb, then it's not a big deal. And nobody does that because you don't get the extra damage, you just get long silence. So I think the Glaives is a decent buff to him, and that means more people are going to play him as a carry and less as a support. So, Skywrath Mage, concussion shot movement slow rebalance from 40% to 30, 35, 40, 45%. So crappier late game, but slightly better. So I'm going to say that's a nerf in general because he's really an early game hero. Get his gangs, snowball. That's his thing. Concussive shot is now destroyable. Obviously a nerf. And damage is now dealt over 2.2 seconds instead of 2 seconds. So he's been nerfed a little bit. Excuse me a second. Sorry about that. Still sick. So Slardar, actually I forgot to mention Skywrath Mage. So he's going to see a little bit less play, but I don't think it's a huge difference. But I mean, if that movement slow gets him less ganks, he's going to get picked less. So his early game is where he's at. Slardar, Slithering, Crush, Stun, and Duration increased from 1.15, 2.25 to 1.6, 1.9, 2.2, and 2.5. So buffs his early game stun. That's good. I like Slardar. He's another one of my 6.81B heroes that's 100% win rate, and I played him more than once, just like Centaur. So I like playing him sometimes, especially against Invis heroes, of course. So it's good to have that buff. I might play him more. But I don't think he's going to get picked anymore with that, because late game it's still pretty much the same. Slark is no longer visible inside Chronosphere during Shadow Dance, so a slight buff there. I don't think that's really game changing in any regard. It just means he can heal if he gets his ult off in time before the Chronosphere. Sniper headshot now causes a 0.5 second 100% move and attack speed slow instead of a 0.25 seconds stun. So that's basically what that means. It's a nerf and a buff at the same time. It's actually pretty significant, because when you're trying to stop somebody from TPing or Nature's Prophet from transporting, you can't do that anymore with this. It's causing 100% move and speed slow, so they don't move, but you don't cancel anything. So there's none of that anymore, which it lasts an extra 0.25 seconds longer. But for those kills that you normally get because of TP scrolls, that you just get lucky, no more of that. So I think it's more of a nerf than a buff, in my opinion. That's what I think. Shrapnel area effect increased from 400 to 450. Like, really, who cares about that one? So there's not much change to Sniper, except for he might not get as much kills. You probably have to ult when they're TPing instead of. You have to be really proactive. Yeah, so I don't know. Spectral dagger movement speed change increased from 5, 9, 14, 18 to 8, 12, 16, 20%. Slight bonus there. Spectral dagger projectile speed reduced from 857 to 800. Not really a big change. I don't think there's going to be too much difference in how he's picked. So slight nerf and slight buff. Spirit Breaker, Charge of Darkness, cooldown reduced from 35 to 12. Now, Spirit Breaker used to be one of my favorites. He got Nerf Hammer out the wazoo, so, but I used to have like an 80% win rate with him over 100 games, so I used to stomp pretty hard with him. But now it appears like his cooldown is reduced from 35 to 12, and how it works is the cooldown is now triggered if he stops or canceled, or somebody stops him, like Zeus lightning bolt, or you hit the target. Now that means that 12's cooldown means, like, say you're in lane with somebody, you want to go after them. Typically when you hit them, it'd be 35 seconds before you'd be able to have another shot, but 12 seconds you actually have another shot possibly of charging that guy down and killing him. So his laning potential, the shorter charges are better now. So sorry, that's my daughter. She wants to analyze too. So that means that his laning presence is going to be better, and just his shorter charges are going to be better. So you've got that now. And yeah, I mean, just having a lower cooldown in general is just better for him. Empowering Haste can now be cast to improve the aura by 50% for 6 seconds with a 20-second cooldown. After he's used, the aura is 50% weaker than the ability is on cooldown. So you can activate it. It's like a drum charge, and then because it goes up to 20%, 7%. That can be the difference between a kill and a not a kill. Absolutely. So you can do that and then get the kill, and then you don't have to worry. You can charge back to base or TP out, whatever you choose. And then you lose 9%. So you gain 9% and then lose 9% for 20 seconds. So good buff, I think. I like that. The ability to kill. That's where Spirit Breaker's strong point is kill lots, kill fast, be all over the map, and that helps him do it. Greater bash damage from 10, 20, 30, 40% to 22, 28, 34, 40% move speed. So his early game has been increased. This might put him back on the map a little bit. I don't think it's quite there where he was as the ultimate pub stomper. But he definitely a pick that's useful now, as opposed to before this patch is basically like, don't pick Spirit Breaker, because I mean, unless they're a whole bunch of squishy heroes and they have no map awareness, you're not what's gonna happen. So look forward to seeing how this turns out, and if there's a few more Spirit Breakers, whatnot. I'm sure people will pick Zeus. So, Storm Spirit, Ball Lightning mana cost per 100 units from 10 to 10 plus 1% to 12.0.7%, which, if I got a calculator, is probably exactly the same. So, not really much change there in Storm Spirit. But I could be wrong. I'm not sure. Added Agnum Scepter for Sven. While activated, God Strength grants an alloyed aura 90 area effect for 40, 68% of base damage. Sven is here to pump you up. This is crazy, actually. The problem is Egg Scepter without if you don't have good team fight ability, this is kind of a worthless upgrade. If you got a lot of team fight ability, if you got some right clickers with you, like a Luna or Dro or something like that, anything with good base damage, this is a good team fight item, but that's it. It's a team fight item. So I don't think that's going to change Sven's pick rate or anything like that. But you have the option if you got a good team that has good right click. That could be useful to get. So techies, landmines, just don't play techies. That's my analysis of this. You piss people off when you don't know how to play techies, and you basically cause the game to be 6-on-4. So, but regardless, my thoughts aside, landmines cool down from 25, 20, 15, 10 to 19, 16, 13, 10. So better early game ability to plant landmine. So I think you can get a fourth one out, like you can TP to mid, plant 4 mines, go. Stasis trap stun duration from 3.456 to 2.535. 3.54. I'm pretty sure now you can't double stun anymore, and that's probably why they nerfed that. So you don't have that ability to stun them, set up another stun, and then have it restun and have a 10-second stun. Stasis trap activation area now matches stun area, so 450, so that's a pretty big buff there. Stasis trap duration from 270, 300, 330, 360 to 360 seconds, I'm assuming. It's because it said 6 minutes. I think that's what that's there for. Regardless, nobody freaking picks Stasis Trap. They all go like, they pick, Suicide Squad first, and then max it, and then never use it, because they don't want to die. So the Stasis Trap there, I don't think that's, if you play a proper good team techies, that is definitely a buff, except for the ability to actually set up the Ultra Stun. But I think overall, if you use it normally, like what you typically would get off, it's a buff. Remote mine duration increased from 8 to 10 minutes. Remote mine vision reduced from 900 to 700. And remote mines area from 400, 410, 425 to 425. So a slight buff in damage, less in vision. So basically they're saying use it as a damage item, less as wards. That's what they're saying. Bat Rider and Firefly Visages, Familiars, Beastmasters, Hawk, and Flying Couriers no longer trigger or get hurt by mines. So any flying type unit doesn't affect the landmines. Except for Visage, you'd be able to attack them without getting hurt. And yeah, and Bat Rider and Firefly, would be able to attack them without getting hurt. So yeah, don't pick techies. My personal bias there, but if you like to play techies, well, there's some good buffs for you and not that much of nerfs. Templar Assassin, Silent Trap cooldown from 11.97 to 11.58, so you really don't get that many off in late game anyway, so I don't think this is much of a difference, in my opinion. So I'm just going to move on. Terrorblade, enable in Captain's mode. Yay, pub stomping more in Captain's mode. Sunder cast point improved from 0.5 to 0.35, so you can do that turnaround. Hey, give me your stuff, and especially if your support walks by and you're low on health and he's full and juicy, you can be a jackass and be like, hey, give me your life. Yeah. So slight buff. Tide Hunter Anchor Smash damage reduction reduced from 60% to 45, 50, 55, 60%. So his laning phase and team fighting abilities have been nerfed. Not a huge nerf, in my opinion, but still a nerf regardless. You'll still see him pick about the same. Hold on a second here. Ah, being sick sucks. Timbersaw. Added Agnum Scepter. Grants Timbersaw a second chakram. Yay, so you can have two blades running at the same time. I mean, just screw the trees, right? This could be an actually good item on him because, having that extra mana and just stats from Agnum Scepter with a Bloodstone, yeah, that can do some serious damage. I'd like to see how it all works in a real game, but you could just about have the entire team fight happening in chakrams. Just about. Now, another hero I'm sick of seeing, Tinker. Now, he's gotten a very, very big nerf to his farming ability. March of the Machines no longer affects spell immune units. That means the ancient creeps are spell immune and are no longer affected by March of the Machines. So that means he can't just go dire off lane and just farm the ancients anymore. Don't work. Except for the two little dragons. So he's been nerfed there, and the other nations and all that. So his farming ability is down. Means you're gonna see a lot less of him because of this. They saw how he's being played and how he's been abused more or less. So this has basically said, hey, stop that, play him the other way, because we just took away his universal damage. He's now yeah, it's just no more universal damage. So less Tinker, yay. Now with the Treant Protector, I'm just he's one of my favorite supports. So great hero for keeping everybody alive, keeping your towers alive, of course. So now his Nature's Guide mana cost reduced from 90, 80, 70, 60 to just straight 60. This is great because no one used to get it very often early game because it costs too much. I mean, 90 and you have to cast on two people. It's 180 and it doesn't last that long. So now that's a buff. And they've added Agnum Scepter, which grants a new ability, Eyes in the Forest, which allows Treant to enchant trees to spines enemies and expand the area overgrowth effects. So Eyes in the Forest enchants a target tree. Enchanted tree gives 800 instructed vision if overgrowth is cast by Treant Protector. You ensnare and enchanted tree will be ensnared and damaged. If the enemy has true sight, they will be able to see visual effects on both the affected tree and the 800 area effect around it. So 160 cast range, cooldown, and you get bonus damage from overgrowth, which is 135 per second. So 3, 4, 5 ticks. So that's quite a bit, and mana cost is 100. And overgrowth only does damage if it comes from an enchanted tree. So if you're playing with a Nature's Prophet, this should work. You should be able to enchant a tree, alt, and then he can turn them into treants, or just if he wants to leave them there for a few seconds. So you could, from also, I mean, it's a great warding tool. Like, it's a huge warding tool. Agnum Scepter works great, like in terms of stat bonuses on Treant Protector. The fact, yeah, just they need true sight to see which trees. So either they're chopping down random trees to kill it, or it doesn't. There's a 55-second cooldown here, but there's no. I don't see any amount of time that it lasts for. So maybe it's permanent through the entire game. So if you like enchant a tree close enough, like if I don't know if you have to be exactly right beside it, but one in where it's not going to get chopped down and gives you 800 unobstructed vision. That can be some pretty serious stuff there. This is a good buff. I like Tree and Protector. He's one of my favorite supports, like I said before. I win a lot with him. He's like 70% or something. I have to check see what my percentage is right now. But yeah, he with this, and if you're playing with a Nature's Prophet, you're great. If you're playing against a timber saw or somebody who likes to destroy trees a lot, this might not be the best thing to get, the Agam Scepter. So, but if you can get a team member to cooperate you and tell you, hey, please plant trees here in the team fight, and I will use my ult and Eyes in the Forest, then you can do some real serious damage. Like 5 times 135, that's well, it's over 600, so that's 500 plus 150. That's 675 damage, extra damage while they're stunned. Well, they're not stunned, but immobile. It's awesome. I think I like this update, and you're gonna see a lot more Treant Protector. He fell from grace a long time ago, but well, that mostly because of his armor cooldown, or his living armor. Well, yeah, that's more or less why. But yeah, I like this. It's good. We'll see more of him. Troll Warlord, range whirling axis cooldown from 20 to 20, 19, 18, 17 seconds. Whoop. And the range increased from 600 to 800. This acquisition range. So that's basically like the sniper fix where he had a huge range, but they weren't working properly at how they auto attack acquisitionism. So now you've got you got proper working auto attack and an extra 3 seconds left on Whirling Axe cooldown. So I don't think that's going to change his picks. You're not going to see much of him anyway. So Tusk, Ice Shards no longer stop when it hits a hero. So you can grab the hero that you want and go through too. Now it travels until the cast location, creates his blockade there. Cast range increased from 1500 to 1800. No longer destroys trees, so good for Treant Protector. Snowball bonus speed per hero increased from 75 to 100, and Alan's now clicking the snowball to jump in it. Good buffs. Nothing crazy, but the ability to have the heroes click into the snowball, that's great for because like when I play Tusk, it's like, do I pick this guy? He's gonna be pissed off at me if I pull him into the fight, those kind of things. So now you don't have to worry about it because he can click on in if he wants to jump in, and you don't have to worry about that guy saying, well, why don't you take me into the snowball? So good bonuses. You'll see more Tusk played because of these buffs. Not a huge amount, but more. Tombstone, or excuse me, Undying Tombstone area effect increased from 400, 600, 800, 1,000 to 6, 8,000, 1,200. Because everybody loves Tombstone. No, everybody hates being on the opposite side of Tombstone. We really do. Agam Scepter, Flesh Golem damage application increased by 5% at all levels, both min and max. So you got your application from 10, 20% to 15, 20%, 25, 35 to 30, 40% with the max. So good buff there. Flesh Golem Soul increased from 9% to a very 5 to 15 based on distance to Undying. These are good buffs. I don't think Undying really needed a buff. I mean, he's not picked that much just because he's hard to play. But he's still, when you get rolling, you get rolling. Especially if you got like a Sven or something like that on your team, you just go to town. So, you got more buffs, so people are going to start picking him more. Vengeful Spirit, Nether Swap increase, range increase from 650, 925, 1200 to 700, 950, 1200. So slightly better early game. You know, it's still hard to find a good Vengeful Spirit player. I don't think this changed the game much at all. Venomancer. Poison Nova applies its debuff on smell immune units, but does not deal damage due to its damage type. So it means you can pop BKB, but once it runs out, you're on you're still getting you know, hurt a lot by DOT. So yeah, that's yeah. Just hold on a second here. Okay, almost done the heroes here. So Viper, corrosive skin now only affects enemies within 1400 area effect. So if you're like Zeus and you ult, you don't get hit by corrosive skin anymore. Corrosive skin damage cannot be reflected multiple times. I'm not sure how that works. Like blade mail? I don't know. So must be blade mail, I guess. But yeah, so you can't. I don't think that really doesn't change much for Viper. It's still going to be the same. Familiar Stone form cooldown from 30 to 26. Good buff, but there's not very many players who know how to play a good Visage, so that's not going to change much of anything. Just competitive games, more or less, and people who play a lot of Visage. Warlock. Fatal Bonds now shares the same damage type that is dealt to it before it is reduced. So if they attack well, previously the damage was HP removal. Now immediately redistributes damage, the same original source type before any reduction. So you did it on a creep and another and a hero. Physical attacks will do physical damage. Lena goes and uses her alt, magic alt. That's gonna turn around and hurt magic damage. And then pure damage will do pure damage. That's about it. Fatal Bonds damage percentage from 20 to 25%. So it's been buffed. Goal attack range increased from 100 to 250. Base attack time improved from 1.35 to 1.2. Regen from 15, 20, 25, 15, 30, 45. Immolation area of effect increased from 250 to 300, and Flaming Fist chance reduced from 60 to 40%. More than not, it is a buff for Warlock. So you're going to see him play a lot more as a support. He's already played a lot now. You're just going to see that extra more. Flaming Fist chance thing, I think, is not that big of a deal. When you got 4 golems going, 40% is 20% difference, whatever. I'm still going to knock the crap out of your barracks. So you're going to see more Warlock definitely with these buffs. It's quite a big set, I think. So especially to an Eggs refresher goal or Eggs refresher Warlock. Weaver. Yeah, he's fallen off quite a bit. I used to play him a lot. Swarm duration increased from 8, 12, 16, 20 to 14, 16, 18, 20. It's decent if you can get it off early game, which most people don't pick it up early game anyways. Sakuchi no longer ignores visible units, so you can actually get that gank on that Clinks at the last second. Sakuchi damage reduced from 90, 110, 130, 150 to 75, 100, 125, 150, which that kind of sucks for laning, especially early game. So his laning capabilities have just got shot, especially getting those last hits. Germinate attack can now proc items. I'm not sure exactly what this means, but I think that it takes out the like the unique attack modifier thing of the Germinate. So like if you have Desolator, the Germinate will desolate, or if you got Scotty, it will have the slowdown with that. If I'm correct. If I'm not correct, and sorry, but from the description, that's what it's telling me. It says can now proc items. So, Germinate attack cooldown increased from 654.2.5 to 6543. I guess that offsets the proc in the items thing, but really all I see is a big old nerf to Weaver who didn't need a nerf at all. This is the Sakuchi is a good thing, and the Swarm is okay, right? People get rid of it before the 8 seconds is up usually anyway. So I'm going to have to say that this was an undeserved nerf. I don't like it. It's like Weaver's not that popular right now anyways. In the win rate, his win rate has dropped, and this is not going to make it any better, I don't think. Especially his early game, where that's his most important part because he needs to snowball. I don't like this. You're going to see a lot less Weaver just because of this. Wind Ranger, Shackle Shot max latch distance from 525 to 575, and wind run duration increased from 27535 425 523 456. So a little bit extra buff to her because you hardly ever see her anymore. So you see a little bit more of her, but nothing crazy there. Witch Doctor, Maledict area of effect increased from 165 to 180, so that's quite a bit boost. Death Ward balances now behave the same as Death Ward attacks with regards to Blade Mail. Neither redirects damage to Witch Doctor. So 2 buffs there for him. So now he doesn't have to worry about Blade Mail hitting him anymore at all. So you see a lot of Witch Doctor now, especially with Faceless Void. You're going to see him even more. So he's going to be like Warlock. You're going to see him all the time. I think Witch Doctor, Warlock are two, and Ogre, you're going to see all 3 of those a lot now, just because of certain things. Like the Maledict is, Witch Doctor's already played a lot, so these little extra buffs are not that big of a difference, but you're going to see him even more. Wraith King, Reincarnation, mana cost increased from 140 to 160. Versus the Anti-Mage or something that drains his mana or whatnot here, this is kind of a big nerf. I guess his win rate was pretty high, so I guess it was a deserved nerf, but it's fun to play. So you just got to be a little careful with your mana, and now a Soul Ring is definitely a necessity, I think, for making sure like you're not running out of the mana, especially if there's mana draining like PL or Ricky or Anti-Mage or anything like that. So you just got to be careful with your mana. And Zeus got a buff with stack field area effect increased from 1,000 to 1,200. Yay! So he can be a little bit farther out, which is a decent buff because your positioning with Zeus, that's your most important factor, especially like Zeus and Sniper are probably the 2 most important positioning characters in the game. You're not in the right position, you're dead. That's it. They're going to eat you alive. So in this case, it allows you to get a little bit more distance and do some damage. Okay, heroes are done. There haven't been too many changes to items, not like the previous patches, so it should be pretty quick to go through. Armlet and Mordigian, recipe cost reduced from 700 to 600. You're playing Spirit Breaker. That's his secret weapon right there. I'll tell you right that. Power Treads, Mask of Madness, Armlet. You get those 3, and you can start ganking really good. So that's probably where it's maybe the $100 gold for him, Sven, those kind of characters. Because I don't think you see too much Armlet and much of anything else. But that's you'll see more Armlet now. The 100 gold reduction for the recipe. That's a big buff to it. Salt Cuirass no longer displays its Z buff on an enemy if the carry is not visible. People don't pay attention to that anyways. Not a big deal. Black King Bar. Avatar spell immunity, duration, and cooldown are now tied to the hero instead of the item. Meaning, buying a new Black King Bar will not reset Avatar's duration. So that's a nerf to buying second Black King Bars. Once you get one, that's it. But the minimum immunity duration increased from 4 to 5, so that's a pretty big buff. Just having that extra one second. I know I've needed it in a lot of team fights. People are still gonna buy it. Black King Bar is Black King Bar. As long as it stays relatively the same, everyone's gonna buy it. Blink Dagger got nerfed, 100 extra gold, because everybody's buying Blink Daggers. I was playing a game yesterday where 5 people had Blink Daggers. Like, just to have Blink Daggers. Everybody was buying Blink Daggers. So 100 gold nerf there. If people keep buying Blink Daggers because of the no mana cost,
they're either going to add it back in or they're going to raise the cost. So right now an extra 100, that's tough. Bloodstone now requires Soul Ring and an 800 gold recipe instead of Perseverance. 1600 versus 1750 total gold. So that's a nerf to Bloodstone. No longer grants 10 damage. I just wants to say his name. So it's not really that bottom of an item. Now it's getting a nerf already. So I don't understand that. Bottle. Gold cost increased from 650 to 700. Now you're going to say, well, who's going to buy a bottle now? But you got to remember that bounty rune allows you to refill the bottle. So if you got a mana intensive mid of any sort, this is going to be great, like a razor mid or something like that. Because no matter what, he goes left, you go right. He goes right, you go left. And you will get a rune and you'll be able to fill your bottle. The melee hero, the heroes that aren't mana intensive, like your BloodSeeker and all that, you probably kiss them goodbye from mid. Like Dragon Knight would probably do really good for mid with the bottle here. He hasn't been changed, so it's probably good because you can get a fire breathing dragon going. So you take the 50 gold hit, but you can get a lot more mana and health regen. You'll die a lot less mid lane. Boots travel teleport cooldown reduced from 60 to 50. Great, to have that extra cooldown. More people will buy it there to replace their boots, their TP scrolls. Butterfly now has an active ability, Flutter, which can cast to trade Butterfly's evasion for 20% movement speed bonus for 8 seconds, 35-second cooldown. So during that time, that 35 seconds, you won't have any evasion. But if you want to gank, that's the way to gank. But really, that's an earlier game kind of thing. So I don't know. I don't think that's that useful actually, because the 20% movement speed is great for like getting away, escaping, ganking, those kind of things. But once you've gotten a butterfly, you want to get in team fights and stuff. You want to kill stuff. So I don't know. We'll have to see how it is in practice. But Cloak, Cloak Hood and Pipe magic resistance now stack like all other normal magic resistance do, so you can stack magic. New item. I've never seen a new item before, like an actual new item, no special ones. So Crimson Guard. This was on that new bloom. Formed from Vanguard Buckler. Now actually Buckler has something it builds from besides mech, and same with Vanguard builds into something. So 3850. So you get 250 HP, 6 HP regen, passive block, 80% chance of 40-20 melee range, 500 5 armor, and 2 plus all stats. So right here you got the Vanguard, and then you got the Buckler. The active guard gives allied nearby heroes 750 range, plus 2 armor, and a damage block shell that has 100% chance of block 50 damage. Last 9 seconds, 70-second cooldown. So plus 2 armor, like the Buckler does that. It really only gives you 100% chance of blocking 50 damage, which is up to 250 damage block, right? And there's a passive, gives the wearer a chance to block damage for each incoming attack based on whether the equipped hero is melee ranged. Guard only affects heroes, has the same no stacking mechanic as Pipe of Insight mechanism for 70 seconds. I don't know if I really care for this item at all. It's having the extra 5 armor plus 2 stats, great, but I don't really see it. You're paying 825 gold for the chance to block 250 damage every 70 seconds. So maybe that's worth it, I guess. So I don't know. I'd have to use it, but of course, Centaur, Bristleback, those kind of characters. This is where this is made for. I don't know if it's work really. This would work good on Razor too, but I mean, it usually builds a mech, so I don't know. I'd have to see it. I'm sure somebody's thought of some cool ideas for it already. Dagon, intelligence bonus level increase from 13, 15, 17, 19, 21 to an added 1 to 4. Energy burst mana cost increase from 180, 160, 140, 120, 100 to 180, so it just uses more mana. Not really. Typically, anybody who gets it, it really doesn't have a mana problem except for Neeks, so this might be a Neeks nerf. Hold on a second. Oh boy, we're getting closer to being done. Look, you see the scroll things all the way down there. Anyways, okay, and diffusal blade. Recipe cost reduced from 850 to 700, so they want more agility heroes, obviously, to buy it. And the bonus has been rebalanced from 2530 to 2035, so worth it to buy the upgrade now, definitely. And feedback rebalanced from 2035 36 to a constant 25, so that's been nerfed. So better agility, less. I don't know how this is going to affect Ricky Animage in terms of the mana drain department. We'll see. Ethereal Blade now has a projectile, so 110 speed, so you can actually have a chance of possibly dodging it. I don't know if you can just join it, but at least you can move away before it kicks your ass. Ethereal Blast not only turns the caster ethereal if they target themselves. So if you are a carry and you just want to shut down another carry and then kill everything else, E-Blade just got a good buff. Really good buff. So, and you can still protect yourself now too anyway. So, and I imagine it doesn't do damage if you target yourself. So, definitely a good buff there. I guess they want more agility heroes to pick that. It's actually useful on something like Drow now. Because before you used to be able to do that, the orb walk with her, and you could attack, but then they took that way. So now you could do that. So good buff. Ice Scotty, frost attack speed, slow increase from 35 to 45. You know, it's okay. It's a little extra buff. Nothing to see here really. Flying Courier. Now this is a big deal here. Base movement speed increased from 350 to 430. Flying Courier now takes 50% extra damage from melee heroes. So 1-2 hits, they're dead. Flying Courier speed burst cooldown increased from 40 to 90 seconds. It means you can't just keep using the freaking speed boost at any given time anymore. You actually have to save it for emergencies or when you know that's not going to be needed for a while. Flying Courier speed burst duration reduced from 20 to 4 seconds. So that means it is literally, the speed boost is literally to escape. That's it now. With that 4 seconds. So, yeah. And then the speed increased from 525 to 650. So, yeah. But the 430, I can't remember how much of the exact speed boost is. I know it's was close to, oh yeah, it's 522 too. So the courier got nerfed, the flying courier. So you gotta be careful with what happens to it. But it's a little hard to pick off if you're not paying attention now because of the 430. So Helmet Dominator buffed finally, provides a 3 HP regeneration. Now when I'm playing Huskar, because of this, how it used to go, you'd get no HP regen. So I would go and I build a mask, build a helm, and as soon as I I'd go and take that helm, split it up, and take the helm and the iron will and put it into the armlet that I'd be making, because it just we're getting the regen out of it, right? Now you're actually getting some regen, and units, dominating units now have 250 bonus HP. So definitely a good buff there. That 3 HP regen, great on Huskar, which of course is going to be my probably my new pub stomp hero. So I'll be sure to get that on him every time first now, instead of doing the splitting and all that crap. So Hooded Defiance, HP regen increased from 8 to 9. It's okay, wasn't really special. Lincoln Sphere, Spear only blocks Wrath of Nature's initial bounce, not subsequent bounces. Lincoln Spear only blocks Lightning Storms. Initial bounces, not subsequent bounces. Another word no longer triggers Lincoln Spear. As Pugna's Lightning Bolt now triggers Lincoln Spear when targeted at the ground. So you can just destroy a Lincoln's just by being Zeus. Maelstrom and Mjolnir no longer trigger Lincoln Sphere. That kind of sucks because I get Maelstrom and Mjolnir just to trigger Lincolns, like versus like a Weaver or something like that, or a Morphling. So that kind of sucks. So I can't do that anymore. And the Maelstrom has been increased from 600 to 700 for the recipe, so less of that now. One of my favorite weapons. Mirror image on mana style type change from unobstructed flying to ground. So it used to provide a brief unobstructed 100,000 or 1,000 radius clips of the casting surrounding. Now it doesn't. Basically a bug fix. And the recipe has been reduced from 900 to 800, which is good. Recipe cost, Mask of Madness reduced from 1,900, so you can see a little bit more of that, but it's not a crazy change. Mechanism, restore mana cost increased from 150 to 225. So that's a nerf to mechans. You already have enough problem with people getting people to buy it. Now it's even worse of problems. So people are still gonna buy it as much as they do. It's not gonna change, but just gotta watch out for that 75 extra. Pipe of Insight, HP regeneration increased from 8 to 9. Okay, cool. Refresher Orb got nerfed. Reset cooldowns, cooldown increased from 160 to 185. So Zeus just took a big nerf there, and so did Magnus, Tidehunter, Enigma. You know, anybody else who uses Refresher Orb as core stuff. Yeah, they're gonna. Yeah, that's bad. Ring of Protection increased from 2 to 3. Gold cost 175 to 200. For that extra armor, that extra 1 armor for 25 gold is definitely worth it. So good for those Doom players or something like that. Anybody who doesn't have much armor, you can grab that. That should give you better damage reduction than a stout shield for a ranged hero. So if you just instead of getting a stout shield, get a ring of protection. Don't even bother getting a stout shield on a ranged hero. So unless you're planning on getting a poor man shield, so even then I don't even think it's worth it. So Sentry Ward added extra 50 area of effect increase. I don't think this really changes much, but in certain places I guess you can ward 2 spots easier, like the old ward spot by Roshan's pit and the cliff down by the Dire side. It'd be easier to ward those kind of things. You might be able to get that 3rd ward up on the cliff by where the Roshan pit used to be, or like the ramp up. So I don't know. I'd have to go in and see like just how much 50 actually adds to it. Shall Walk Invisibility break damage adds an extra 25. Sure. Freezing Aura no longer displays its debuff on the enemy if the carrier is not visible, which is same as AC. No one pays attention on that anyways. Town Portal Scroll. Gold cost reduced from 135 to 100. Pretty big buff, actually. If you take into consideration how much you actually spend on Town Portal Scrolls, that's a good buff. More people will buy them. Okay, last little bit here, because I think... yeah, there are additional changes here. I'm not going to go in. These are just all user interface changes and bots and just random junk. So I'm just going to go through the damage type change here, kind of explain it to my best of my ability, and then that's it for this. So a few abilities and damage type mechanics to be reworked. There are now 3 primary damage types and a spell immunity, piercing status with each. Each ability now carries a notation in the tooltip indicating these 3 damage types are physical, magical, and pure. Physical is affected by physical armor. Magical affected by magical damage resistance. And pure is affected by neither. Magic immunity has now been renamed to spell immunity. Spell immunity only defines if spell interacts with it, not how damage itself is handled. This means on its own spell immunity status does not reduce any damage. Black King Bar repel rage and all other previous forms of magic immunity. Now grant spell immunity status and 100% magic resistance bonus. So even if it would go through, excuse me here. My nose wouldn't let me finish my train of thought here. So even if it goes through immunity status, it still has 100% magic resistance bonus, so they can't hurt you with any magic. And that means if Doom doesn't cancel Rage and stuff like that, like it used, like no, you can go through Doom. You can Doom through Black King Bar, but now that if it doesn't cancel Black King Bar, and since it does a magic damage, I'm pretty sure now instead of universal, that means Doom won't do any damage anymore. But it'll just you won't be able to use items. If I'm correct, I'll have to try this. I'm not sure. That's just theory crafting in my head. In the vast majority of cases, the interactions are still the same. However, an example of a case would be different is if an ability has both spell immunity exception and has pure damage type. Previously, the damage would not have any impact. However, now it does. So that means BKB doesn't block blade mail anymore. I'm pretty sure. Before, you could just flip on blade mail, or you flip on your BKB and attack somebody with blade mail because it was pure damage. Now, since pure damage is not stopped by magic immunity anymore, yeah, I think you're a little hooped on buying PKP for for blade mails now. Oops. Ability tooltips now have these fields: physical, magical, pure, pierces, spell immunity, yes or no. So I'll let you know. If the damage type is not magical, it will be colored differently to make it easier to notice. The same is the case where pierces, spell immunity is yes. So we'll see what it looks like when it comes out. There have been a few abilities rebalance of these mechanics in mind. In some cases, it tends to maintain similar balances. In other cases, adjustments to their balances. Acid spray now is physical instead of composite, but still pierces spell immunity, so it is reduced by armor. And the damage has been reduced. So Alchemist didn't need another nerf, but he's got nerfed again, so 2 to 8 damage decrease. Bane's nightmare damage from HP removal to pure, so it hardly does any damage anyways. So, but I don't know if it's spell piercing or not. Because if it is spell piercing, then you can use it on BKB and hurt them. Wild Axe damage composite to physical, still pierces spell immunity, and Wild Axe damage reduced from before, like we mentioned. Primal Split, Ear Spirit's purpleized damage from magical that pierces spell immunity to magical. So BKB, it won't. I don't know if the stun will. I think it stuns, doesn't it? But it won't. It won't cause any damage. Doom damage type change from magical that pierces spell immunity to pure that pierces spell immunity. Okay, so Doom will go through BKB now and will hurt. So Doom damage reduced from 70 to 50, and eggs is 110 to 80. So it's received a bit of a nerf, but you can't reduce the damage it does now. So pipe versus Doom doesn't matter anymore. You don't get it anymore. So don't buy pipe for Doom. Earthshaker Echo Slam initial damage is now same magic damage type as the rest of its damage. Initial damage no longer pierces spell immunity. So it doesn't go through BKB anymore. Enigma Midnight Pulse damage type change from magical that pierces spell immunity to pure that pierces spell immunity. That's good. And Midnight Pulse damage reduced from 4567 to 3375 525. So that's been nerfed. It was kind of a little overpowered in my opinion. Edict damage type changed from composite to physical, still pierces spell immunity, so it's just reduced by armor, and then its damage reduced from 12, 5, 25, 37, 50 to 9, 18, 27, 36. It now deals 40% more damage to towers, so it does the exact same to towers. So basically, it does the exact same as what I'm reading, because the damage reduction, because the composite is was partly reduced by magic resistance, now isn't. So still does the same, I guess. So I'd have to get a calculator. Lena, Laguna's blades, Agnem Scepter damage type change from magical that pierces spell immunity to pure that pierces spell immunity, and Laguna Blade Agnem Scepter no longer increases damage. Only damage type is changed. So overall the same damage against 25% magic resistance. So if you lower their magic resistance though, then it doesn't do extra damage, but if you increase their magic resistance, then it does do extra damage. So it's a nerf and a buff at the same time, depending on which. Lone Druid, Spirit Bear, Death now deals 10% max health as pure damage instead of 1/3. So if he's got triple hearts or whatnot there, it's going to do a lot of damage. Heartstopper Aura is now negative regeneration instead of HP removal. So basically, you'll still get the credit for kills with it. So you get -3 or -3 versus positive versus just, you know, whatever, 30 damage per second, whatever it end up being. So it's just negative HP. Yeah, just negative HP regeneration. It's the only character that has that, I think. Techies, landmine damage type from composite to physical, still pierces spell immunity, so just get lots of armor. Landmine damage reduced from max of 600 to 450, so you might get a little less first bloods out of that, especially if they get armor and they have a high amount of health already, like Spearbreaker or something like that. Yeah, because he could probably just, even if you loaded up 4 mines, he might still survive that, possibly. He's got high armor, he's got a lot of health to start off with, so I'd have to see. Suicide Attack Squad, Suicide Squad Attack, damage type from composite to physical, still pierces spell immunity, and the damage has been reduced from 1550 to 1150, which probably does about the same damage because there's no magic reduction, right? So Tinker, March of the Machines, damage type change from magical to pierces spell immunity to no piercing of spell immunity. So that's because of the ancient thing there. We discussed that earlier. Wave of Terror, damage type from HP removal to pure that pierces spell immunity. Okay. Doesn't do that much damage anyways. Failed bonds now the same damage type. Explain that. They've increased it. Flaming Fist is no longer pierces spell immunity, so BKB, and you don't get hurt from the Flaming Fists. Necronomicon, last will damage type from pure to magical, still does not pierce spell immunity, so BKB or a pipe will prevent that because they have increased it from 600 to 800. That's a lot, but still worth the 200 gold in my opinion. And Earnest Shadows change from HP removal to pure, so I'm assuming that's just when you get that 150 attack. So constant damage, damage type has been removed completely. There are no longer any abilities which use composite damage. HP removal is no longer considered a damage type, and its remaining users are as an alternate cost of mana for spells to use some Ray Burning Spears or a functional HP modification. Armlet, Sunder, etc. now considered usage costs in the game and are never lethal. So that's it for this massive update. So, thanks for listening to me, analyze that, letting me give you those thoughts there. I'd like to see how this changes. There's nothing incredibly heartbreaking about this update, except for the BloodSeeker change. I mean, that's me personally, but I know a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, no more BloodSeeker crap, pub stomp. So you got the cool Shadow Fiend now. It looks like it's an interesting update. So, in the comments below, just make sure that you go there. You let me know what you think. Because I want to hear, any kind of, theory crafting, what you think of the update there. Even if you hate it, you like it, just let me know. Let me know in the comments below. Please subscribe, of course. Of the subscription bar pop up here. and I'll be doing more Dota coach tips and tricks here. But I just wanted to sit down and I wanted to do this because it was it's an amazing update. It changes a lot, and it's either going to ruin people's lives in Dota or it's going to make things better for certain people. We'll see. So, anyways, let me know. Don't forget to check out that one video in Dota Cinema there. I'm sure I'll provide a link at the end of this video here. You can go check it out regarding the changes in the map there, so you can see what exactly has been changed. Yeah, just happy doting. Play, play hard, have fun. Don't get so angry. Don't play tackies. Please don't play tackies unless you're really, really good with them. And just let me know all about everything that you think in the comments. We'll see you then.